to a wall. He'd dropped his own cornered beast. He'd held it back all fight because it eats his reason, and now he'd gone full feral, faster and stronger than me. But here's the thing I keep saying. I've also got technique. All fight. Every time my hand neared the sword, the tiger flinched and held back, wary of the blade. Now the sword was already in my hand, and the tiger was a mad bull. A miss didn't make him guard. It just brought the other claw. This fight's over. I drew. The blade stirred the red haze and hit its own gleam. No warning at all. Even my big frame's presence pulled down to almost nothing. Under his ragged roaring, I could hear his heart. Thud, thud. Time crawled, slow enough to watch the muscle change along his arm. Flesh about to fail, a second from coming apart. I take him first. HSSS. A sonic crack, a gout of blood so dark it was black flung out like spilled ink. One end at my sword tip, the other at his arm. All the orcs saw was a flash, and the tiger's right arm spinning away into the air. Roar, he didn't stop. The left came around for the next blow. A beast is a beast. No match for a... I jerked my head aside as a dart whistled past, and Ragnar's fist landed square on my breastplate. Boom. The armor caved, every miracle mark on it shattering to junk, the air driven out of my chest. And I saw the thing that had thrown the dart. A squat rat man, hunched in the brush, a blowgun at his lips. The dart had been aimed at my head, but none of that was the important part. The important part was, the rat was a legend. Cough, cough, I spat blood. Organ damage blood. One punch from a cornered beast tiger, and I had internal bleeding. But the worst enemy was the little one with the blowgun. That lightning dart hadn't even been meant to kill me. It had been meant to stop me from taking the tiger's head, which is why I dodged it at all. Otherwise, it'd have punched a hole through my face. I searched for an answer and found my body already leaping back. Ragnar's next blow was on me. Draw the sword, no? My hand barely touched the sheath, and that prickle of danger flared again. The legend rat knew his blowgun was an assassin's art. With me braced, he could barely hit. One-on-one, he was no match for a cornered tiger, never mind me. But picking his moment to backstab? He'd handle me easy. Ragnar's breath was at my neck again. Kill, kill, kill. No room to breathe. Boom. A tree thick as 3 men split behind me. I made my decision. Cornered beast. On again. The red blast tore out, pressure flattening the field. And this time the boost was a whole tier stronger. My body swelled past 2 meters 30, arms thickening, blood-red eyes locking on the rat with the blowgun. I can win. I can tear him apart. No more hesitation. I cratered the ground and launched at the legend rat like an old iron cannonball, not caring what rank he was. I only knew one thing. Cornered, I was stronger than him. Rat, die. His eyes went wide. He fired 3 darts. I didn't care, punched a fiercer red haze out of my body and let all 3 pass clean through. 2 arms and a chest, 3 lines of blood, and kept coming. In the last instant, I saw the corner of his mouth lift. Legend unleashed. Borrowed life. The plague folk were never born strong, never born clever. The only reason we survive is this, the cheapest thing there is. A life. Splat. My fist hit and turned him to paste, bone and blood and fur and guts all mixed together, dead past any doubt. And my heart filled with dread, because what little reason I had left worked it out. I'm a stat monster, and I'd finally run into a mechanic monster. Right on cue. The pulp on the ground hadn't even cooled before the legend rat, tail dragging, was standing on a tree a little way off, blowgun already aimed at me. And the tiger was on me again. Get off, boom. We clashed, and I pinned him on contact. And as I went to finish him, my senses screamed. 3 lines of blood. 3 darts in my shoulder, my cheek, my belly. Aimed for heart, brain, kidney. Everyone a kill spot. Ragnar saw me falter, opened his jaws, and lunged for my throat with his teeth. You want to play savage with me? My face twisted all the way, the miracle power drowning my brain, and I bared my own teeth and met him head on. 3 more darts went into my arm in the time it took. A roar came up my throat worse than any beast's, my eyes flooded full red, the whole world gone to a sea of blood, and when his fangs sank into my cheek, it was the human who won the bite. I tore half the tiger's face away, white cheekbone bared to the air, and while he screamed I clamped down on his throat and ripped, and fairy blood-sucking fired. Ragnar struggled less than a second, then went limp. He'd been running on pure miracle. The moment the god ruled him beaten, the power vanished, the blood burst his brain, and even unbitten, he was a dead tiger walking. My wounds knit closed at a frightening speed as I drank. The rat didn't twitch, just watched from his tree with a strange smile. And I learned why he wasn't in any hurry. Just as my wounds nearly finished closing, my heart shuddered. From the chest down, I'd gone blue-black, half my body's blood barely moving, breath coming hard. The darts were poisoned. A wild beast warrior shrugs off venom, below legend. The rat's was legend grade. Of course it was. He saw it take hold and finally let out a breath, ambling closer, pronouncing sentence in a dry, old voice. I'm 13 this year. Killing a future legend at my age, that's something to take home to the clan. I'll let you die knowing why. The legend deed was already spoiled. Cornered beast couldn't save me now. He pulled a little herb berry from his belt and chewed it. Want to hear my legend? I slowed my breathing, tried to slow the blood crawling toward my heart, and let him talk. My people live hard. We finally produced a king, and the great lords of the hand of God demanded we hand the child over. So we bought their pardon with the lives of 10,000 ordinary children. I proposed the trade. I went and begged the lords for it. And for that shameful pact, I, who wasn't even an elite, leapt straight to legend. As long as one of my kin is near, I'm immune to death once. A legend so humiliating my fighting strength is worse than a strong elite's. But I'm the only legend my people have, so they gave me their holy relic. Kill 999 enemies with it, and I earn a second legend. He patted the few darts left. No sense wasting them on a dead man. He'd just wait for the poison to reach my heart. Then he saw the confident smile spread across my face, and it filled him with a hatred he couldn't name. The same look the high-tier orcs wore in their fat chairs, deciding his people's fate in 3 lazy sentences, scattering tens of thousands into slavery. What are you smiling at? You're dying and you're smiling. Stop. Stop, or I'll tear your mouth open. My lips moved. Barely a sound. He had to strain to catch it. I really am a damn genius. Half an hour. Right on time. He didn't understand. Then he heard it. A low roar rolling in from the distance. Heavy armor, flying low. The Golden Empire's killing machines. The executioners. I learned the rest after, when I could see straight again. 3 legend captains, locking the forest down with 3 of their legend arts. Stone pillars erupted on every side, blotting out the sky, sealing even the earth below in smooth rock. Eternal Bastion, the giant's wall. Killing intent settled over the whole field, every twitch washed by something unseen. The sentence of death. And with every step the third commander took, a rank of soldiers rose at his back in gold-heavy plate, royal sigils on their chests, marching in perfect order and grinding everything living to pulp. Golden Host. 3 legends, sealing this place to wipe every orc here. The rat tried to run and found a gold rain falling. Hundreds of summoned soldiers hurling their lances skyward, a downpour of gilded points covering every square foot. He'd been 100 kills shy. Not fair. 100 more. Just 100 more. The whole world went white, the ground bucking like a carpet bombing, trees ground to powder by force that didn't care whose side anyone was on. The rat went first, not a bone left, not even a tail, his precious relic dust in the dirt. Under a minute, and every orc was gone. The only living thing left was me, sealed under a little stone house. A captain came for me, 3+ meters in his armor, an iron giant. He cracked the stone open, looked down at the purple, poisoned man inside, and reached out. Legend unleashed. The resolve of 100 battles. A thin thread linked me to him. The poison under my skin gathered itself into a vicious serpent of haze, crawled up the thread, and bit him in the throat. He only grunted. Not a cure, a sharing. Mark a man as your ally, and every harm he takes, you take with him. Poison, curse, all of it, divided. The other captain, a normal 180 in armor like solid gold, walked up. How is he? The giant rolled his neck. Not bad. Just poisoned. I shared the legend art. He'll hold till the fortress can treat him. Then he looked at the sky, like he was waiting for something, and a legend's presence descended, and he nodded, satisfied. The Gold Knight got it. You're saying, he can ascend to legend right now. See for yourself. A pillar of gold light pierced the sky and poured down onto me. Half drowned in poison, half conscious. I felt it. And the rage came up so hard I climbed to my feet, half my face eaten away, and pointed at the light, cursing it. Are you kidding me? Kill 20 orcs, then run from a legend? A garbage legend like that follows me forever? I'd rather throw the whole chance away than have Iran carved into my soul for everyone to laugh at. Stop. You useless god. I'll find another road to legend without you. Stop. Stop. What happened to him? Why is he covered in blood? Hester, somebody get Hester. Quinn, don't you die. Who'll bake me little cakes. That last one was unmistakably Lily, who flung herself onto me in 300 pounds of armor and nearly squeezed the rest of the air out of my lungs. The giant, the Earthdrake Fortress captain, had carried me home, 2 meters of me dangling from one hand like a half-grown kid. With comms down, the 3 captains had been in a meeting together when Lily and Melissa rode in to report, and they'd come fast, beating their own crows to the battlefield. Don't cry yet, he's fine, the giant said, wiping sweat that wasn't there. He just hit a snag taking the legend power. A few days rest, and he's right. He'd nearly had a heart attack out there. He'd never seen anyone curse a god. No punishment had come down, but the legend power had finished pouring in and formed its sigil inside me. And because I'd screamed at the god mid-ascension, my legend sigil was an empty shell. No miracle in it at all. The sigil is where a legend keeps the fuel for every legend art he has. Mine held nothing. You took a snag during ascension, and he's fine? Earthdrake, how do you even say that with a straight face? That voice was unmistakable. Our captain, 2.5 meters, dwarfed by the 3-meter giant and not one bit dwarfed in presence, because the two of them had crossed blades once and drawn even. Earthdrake's an honest man with no ambition. All his legend arts protect his people. The captain can't crack his defense, and Earthdrake can't catch the captain's speed. Earthdrake laid out the whole thing and finished. Not my fault. He cursed a god mid-ascension all on his own. The captain forced out 3 flat ha-ha-has and said, in a voice of profound trust, "Of course I know it's not your fault. And when he wakes up, I'm going to teach him a lesson." He gets a legend art handed to him and turns up his nose. I'll string him up and beat him. Earthdrake waved both hands. No, he botched it, but he did us a huge favor. We had no idea this orc squad was hiding a legend, and there's barely an elite of theirs left. Anyway, your temper's bad enough. Just find an excuse and beat him in a few days. What's that supposed to mean? The giant took one look at the captain's rising fist, found an excuse, and bolted. Nothing, joke, bye. Off to mop up the rest. Each running step shook the whole fortress. Everyone seeing him for the first time gaped at the storybook size of him. Stop staring, the captain told them. He's no mutant. Silver-haired noble, pure human. His legend art put a castle inside him, so he just keeps growing. He patted my head, smiling unseen behind his faceplate. Good work, kid. I'll hold off on the beating. Hester, Polybo, get him to the ward. He's awake, just can't talk. Don't lay a hand on him, or it's on you. That last was for Polybo, who'd taken enough beatings off me lately that the captain feared for my safety. My life was safe enough. My dignity, maybe not. Even a black-haired peasant has his pride. I'd just cursed a god rather than wear a shameful legend, after all. If Polybo bullied a paralyzed man, well, when I woke up, the captain wouldn't be the one stopping me. Don't worry, captain. I won't do a thing. Polybo's eyes were steady as a soldier's before battle. Then he sneakily drew his hand back from my ear. Hester rolled her eyes, swatted him off, and dragged my breastplate across the floor with one soft hand. I've got him. Go make yourself useful elsewhere. Quinn sobbed, don't die. Wes, the last in my circle to learn I was dead. No, hurt. He clutched my blood-crusted gauntlet and bawled. He's not dead. Out. You're disrupting my treatment. Hester hauled him out by the collar before he finished the sentence. She couldn't just heal me. My body was full of legend power crashing around loose, and any miracle she fed and canceled against it. Unless it was higher-grade legend power, which her elite tier wasn't. So she went to the goddess of plenty. And maybe because of the plague work, the goddess's favor hadn't run dry. She pulled up the 2 records in history that matched my symptoms. One was an elf who'd guarded a demon realm gate for 50 years and finally killed a demon legend at terrible cost. The forest and swamp god offered him power. He refused, because he was a support type whose whole life's wish was to feed his country, and he chose the goddess of plenty instead, turning his legend into crop growing. On the day he refused the legend art, he too had nearly been torn apart from inside, because an empty legend sigil leaves the power nowhere to live. So it roams the body looking for a home. Like soldiers, a lord has no authority to command, burning and looting his own land while he watches. The other was an ancient dragon, 1,300 years old, who'd glimpsed a human city, felt faith stir, survived another deadly fight, and been noticed by the god of fire and forging. It too refused, chose plenty, and an ancient dragon's body is the strongest there is, stone for skin, steel for bone, quicksilver for blood, immune to any legend harm. But the loose power inside still tormented it, until it found the trick, a special breathing, a rhythm in flesh and skin that squeezes the wild power back into the sigil and contains it. It worked. So she knew the cure. The catch: my body was far too weak for legend power, with no way to command it, so it was wrecking me from the inside. Wait for the power to burn off, and I'd be fine. In 3 days, or 30. Unless I learned the dragon's trick. I'll get the armor off you. Plate fell away under a miracle, bearing a battered body, ribbons of legend power threading under the skin, snapping bone without leaking out. Only the odd bead of blood welling where a vessel burst. I can't teach you the breathing in words. She shrugged off her coat and pressed a hand to my forehead, leaned in close, her breath at my ear, the words coming small and warm as a mosquito's hum. Only like this can I cut the damage down. Feel the ancient dragon's rhythm? Follow it. Pull the power in. Even passing the knowledge cost her everything. Her body trembled with it. Legend pressure is no joke. But she never wavered. She doesn't let stray feelings ruin a treatment. By nightfall, I was whole again. Half a day of work to herd the legend power into the empty sigil and patch myself up, and good as new. The room got cleaned a dozen times over by her miracles, scrubbing out the blood smell and the wild beast warrior musk, though Hester swore she still caught a whiff, like I lived in one nostril and the captain in the other. Disgusting. Wouldn't wash out. But also, a certain feeling. What's wrong? You look pained. I reached over to smooth the crease between her brows, which only darkened her face. Hands off. I'm just worried about you, ha. I bounced up off the floor, fully restored. If you're healed, get out. That's cold. I'm hungry. Feed me, feed me. I threw myself on the floor and howled. She pressed her forehead, sighed, and hit me with a miracle, and her never-fail miracle did nothing. Because my dark laughter was already filling the room. Kuhaha. A miracle fails before a greater miracle. Lily told me that. I just run the legend power and cancel yours. Which means you can never handle me again. Surrender, Hester. Despair at the treatment you wasted on me. She sighed, sat down, and lifted one foot up onto my shoulder. Then she hooked it, slow, and the small movement caught my breath. Hang on. Wasn't I bullying her? Why does she look like she's having fun? She tucked a strand of silver behind her ear, those ice chip eyes gone a little hazy, ran her tongue over her lips, and said softly, "There's no food in my ward. But if you really must eat, there's only one option." A strange thumping pushed up in my chest, hot enough to burst. Hester had never felt anything like it. Like the first time she met the captain, Lily, Polibo, Melissa, knowing each of them would become her family. Silver hairs don't get to choose. That's simply how it is. But this time she wanted to choose, and the reason was simple. Her faith in the gods had cracked, and the one who'd filled the crack was him. I have no romantic feelings for Hester. Friendly acquaintance, tops. She'd just patch me up, a little teasing's one thing, but I'm not going to brain the woman with a backhand. Too scary. And I never learned that a steward of plenty is, by the nature of her class, perpetually ready to nurse a child. And I'm not in the market to start calling anyone mama just yet. So I walked. Next morning, the captain's office. Day's meeting done, and he kept me back alone, shooed even Polibo out. What are you looking at? Smack. A slap to the back of my head. No ceremony at all. 3 legend men don't talk to me the way you do. You've got nerve, kid. One slap, and I understood. The captain was still the captain. He could still bend me over his knee any time he liked. So I beamed. Let's fight. I thought you'd grow nerve. Turns out your skin's just itchy. He'd heard I could command legend power now, and figured I needed reminding of my place. But not yet. Know why I kept you back? It wasn't to spar. He leaned in. I'm going to teach you the most useful, most widely known technique of the dragon hunters, the upper class above wild beast warrior. It's called Dragon Strike. The dragon hunters spend their lives figuring out how to punch through dragon scale and build a move that works on any weapon or limb. The principle's simple. Spin legend power to a single point and pierce a surface by concentrating force. That's a Rasengan, I almost said. Then I tried it. That's definitely a Rasengan. An Ice Sky Rasengan. Ride along on any weapon, even arrows and thrown spears. The legend power doesn't scatter easily. With the Ashina style backing me, I picked it up fast. Pure technique simpler than projecting sword wind, and the punch is real, just enough to crack the captain's defense. One problem, my legend tank is nothing next to his. 3 uses a day, where he can spin 10 or more on a whim. A trump card, no more. Not bad, kid. Took me half a day to learn that. I preened, tail practically in the sky. Who do you think you're talking to? I'm the strongest. The captain's fist got hard again. I was going to beat you, but you've got a busy afternoon, so I'll let it slide. What afternoon? Killing orcs. No. Hester says you have to go help her train. Paid. Far away, in the heart of the orc camp. I wasn't there for any of this either, but it's the thing the rest of this war turns on, so you should know it. In a vast bear hide tent, a glowing pearl hung from the peak. Not a pearl, something worth countless pearls, the belly stone of an 800-year sea dragon, hunted and gutted in the deep, a creature worth 5 legends in the water. Here it was a lamp, because the one seated below had no need to be impressed by it. He was Hethral's elder brother, the only boar man in the orcs' thousands of years of history to complete 7 miracle deeds as a boar man. The orcs' newest epic hero, Arlanza Bristlefawn. Hethral stands 3 meters. Arlanza, by contrast, stood no taller than an ordinary man. One of his own legend deeds, the power to shrink and swell at will, which spared him feeding a 50-meter true body. The tent, the eternal sea dragon lamp, the streetlight-sized bone blade at his side, all legend deeds, all his. The Boarman King was tasting souvenirs from his travels, chewing loud, on purpose, for the benefit of the high-tier crow flattened on the floor before him, the lone survivor of the squad that hunted me, legs broken, arm broken, trembling. The crow's own race was the stronger. He was just the pawn his tribe spent to befriend this epic. There aren't 20 epic heroes among all the orcs, and every new one carves a slice off the Empire's pie. The myth races don't worry. The rest must weigh how close to hold a newcomer. So when Arlanza rose to epic, instead of taking the gifts the myth heroes offered, he made one request. Let my people migrate, if I break the crystal line. 6 myth heroes voted yes, unanimous, and promised to hold off the Golden Emperor and the Grand Marshal. Everything else, Arlanza does himself. The watching epics, sneering. That line had held for centuries. What could one boar man do? Tossed him their cast-off toys to show support. He remembered the contempt in their eyes, and didn't care. He would prove himself. Lift the boarman to the orc's peak. Burn his own soul as fuel in the Empire's war and ascend to myth, the 7th, and the only true war-made myth in orc history. For that, he'd spent every resource he had. This broken crow was one of them. Lord Arlanza, we finished less than half our progress, because there was one. Good. Crunch. Arlanza bit through an elf tree branch, chewing. He didn't sound angry at all. Don't be afraid. I said you did well. Escaping a legend's hand is a deed in itself. Why didn't you ascend? It was Wingrino and Tay. They held them off so I could run. The thought of 2 friends staying behind as bait broke the crow. His tears hit the tent floor. Arlanza waved a hand, irrelevant. So Hethral, at the second seat, rose, gently helped the crow up, wiped his own mouth, and bit down. Crunch. The head's the sweetest part. The other legend boarman waited under Arlanza's eye, then took the body one bite at a time, passing it around, until the broken elite's last trace in the world was the tears he'd shed. A crippled elite is good for one thing, food. Now, Arlanza said, and every legend snapped to attention. I knew this operation couldn't succeed. The point was to test whether a certain myth-grade miracle works as promised. It does. The wrecked miracle veins were a happy accident. I didn't expect to catch the marshal mid-meditation, slow to react. That window won't come again. The line is fully awake now. So we strike it at its weakest point, and there we'll write the Bristlefong miracle. Go ready your young. A great many of them are about to become legends. 7 legend boarmen bowed as one. To even the smallest boar child it's obvious. Only Arlanza can lift this race to greatness. One more thing. He remembered the deadweight in his army. The other races force their frenzy on and throw them at the fortress to charge the high priest's miracle. This is the Bristlefang's legend to write. His eyes glittered, vicious and shrewd. No one else may touch it. The 7 legends stepped out of the tent into the bright morning, and the sun lit an ocean of boarmen stretching past the horizon, vast beyond counting. A sea in full bloom. When Hester called me in, it wasn't to flirt. It was to make me build a furnace. I'd told her, back in the box, that you could smelt iron ore by the ton in a single hearth, 10 times faster than the way they did it now, which was heat the richest ore and beat it by hand, slow and brutal. If my method worked, she could kit out 100 soldiers in a day. So she'd laid out the materials I'd named: iron, ore, limestone, coke, the rest, beside a little crucible she'd shaped with her own power, the kind only a legend's fire could melt. Run one experiment in it, get it on the record, and from then on she'd spend 1/10 of the legend power to pour iron by the ton. I layered everything into the crucible. It's the simplest blast furnace there is. High heat forces a reaction, the impurities cook out, and you're left with clean iron. Take it outside, open ground, I said. You want over 2,000 degrees. Hot enough to melt anything mortals work with. 2,000 degrees. Another word she'd never heard. She didn't even ask anymore. She lifted a hand, chanting, and I swear the prayer didn't sound like any furnace I ever ran. The forge god's fire melts all steel. The mountain god's ore is the finest matter in the world. The forest god's breath is the truest companion to both. Under the goddess of plenty's witness, work this matchless thing of steel, unheard of in all of human history. A pillar of flame roared up off the little crucible and nearly took my eyebrows with it. Then another wave of her power, and the fire was simply gone. The crucible already cooled. She'd skipped past the whole making of it to the result. The shell cracked, the firebrick fell away, and there sat one ugly, pitted ball of iron. By her reading, the purest iron she'd ever seen. And she'd spent under 1% of her power to get it. Then she started to rise. Gold light pooled in her eyes, silver hair lifting and growing, an invisible pressure spreading off her like the will of something that made the world, like a thought from her could move all matter at once. Far past that legend rat I'd killed. No way, I said. You're about to ascend? She heard me, let the power scatter, and swayed. I caught her. 1 step short, she said. When she'd uploaded the technique to the goddess's records, she'd landed exactly on the line, crushing for an elite, just shy of legend. A method for smelting or shouldn't carry power like that. But the gods unseen will had run the math. In time, this would be one of the most important steps human civilization ever took. She noticed my hand was still at her waist and shoved me off, a flush rising before her own power smothered it. Why are you staring at me? Nothing. I just think you look better with the hair long than short. She tossed the long silver back with a cold little humph, the ends brushing my nose, cold flowers and something else. Then I'll cut it short. Suit yourself. Damn, she's close. Her ears were going hot for no reason she could name, and she jammed both hands in her coat pockets to hide a heartbeat that wouldn't behave, and then felt a tug at her thigh, looked down, and found me crouched there hugging her leg with both arms and a punchable grin. Forge me a couple of weapons, and there's more knowledge where that came from. 17 ways to make me scream flashed through her head. What came out was a strangled off. You're disgusting. Keep talking to me like that, and I'll get my feelings hurt. She forged me 3 things: a cross spear, a long heavy blade, and a crossbow bow. No legend power off the weapon forging. This world's bored legend smiths already pull 3,000 degrees and crane arm strength. I wanted to skip straight to firearms. The goddess's power makes it trivial, no slow tech climb. Just one miracle, and a no-miracle object jumps to whatever finished state you want. But Hester stopped me, said she wanted to get used to her own power first, that growing too fast might strain her body. I didn't think twice. I grabbed my new toys and went looking for the captain. Captain, give me a job. I want to kill something. The whole council turned and glared. That's as far as it ever goes. They hate me, and they can't change my habit of challenging anyone who looks at me funny. They'd all watched me beat their direct superior Polibo into the floor. Refuse my duel, and you risk your house's name. Accept it, and you eat a beating. Polibo's been stuck in that trap for weeks, because a knight raised to guard the family honor literally cannot decline. The only one happy to see me is the captain. Good timing, kid. Boarmen are attacking again. Go have fun. Drives him up the wall. Useful as hell. You got it. I went and found Polibo. Hey, brother, let's hit the wall. I'm not your brother. He flung his sleeve and marched his 30-some knights off toward the ramparts. The intel that came in by light relay said the Boarmen were throwing nearly 200 elites at the line, 50 of them ours to handle, plus a thin scatter of common orcs. It made no sense. That's just giving away lives. But if they wanted to gift us heads, who were we to refuse? Out on the field, the thing wasn't an attack. It was a cull. Every orc race but the Boarmen was being driven at our wall by the Boarmen elites behind them, and every one of them had frenzy lit, 50 of them stacked, enough that even I had to give ground for a second. All ranks, order bulwark. White light flared down the wall, chaining every knight's strength together. Like frenzy, the bulwark gets stronger the more men share it. They were confident 30 could hold 50. Looked like overkill, though. Only 20 of the driven elites were actually moving. 15 Boarmen sat their tusk hogs back at a distance, doing what Polibo does, fall back and die at the wall. Better than being eaten alive. The orcs like their meat fresh. Only the rotten stuff gets cooked, and they cook it before a battle to steal their resolve. So these creatures already knew they were dead, and came in with no fight in them, just flailing toward the line to die. I've got this. I jumped off the wall, bare-chested. My armor was still being repaired, because I wanted to try my new toys. Killer technique. New Year's sword style. Which is to say, the one-stroke cut. Calling it a technique almost insults the word. It's just raise the weapon overhead and bring it down, and it's the most violent thing in the book. One came down on the lead foxfolk, shoulder to hip, skin to bone. Split him in two. Physically, 2 pieces. 43%. The white tiger had been 12, the other tiger 28. This fox was a sad 3. Going to need 30 of these. Come on, come on. Fight me. Offer the gods the sweetest struggle there is. Ha. 20 frenzied elites against me now were fence posts. I hooked a catwoman on the long blade, ran the point through her throat, and flung her off, and a ring of invisible pressure rolled out from my feet. Every orc around me felt the ground jump. Then I started spinning the cross spear. There's an old saying. A swordmaster who can't use a spear is no good archer. Simpler than the blade. Just swing the cross spear with brute strength, and nothing that closes survives. 3 passes and the front rank was dead, 20 orcs down to 15 in under 30 seconds, and even a brain drowned in frenzy wakes up at that. Who's next? They stepped back as one. That's when I spotted the big gray ram again. I'd noticed him before, a battering ram of a sheep, no orc on his back, just loping along loose in the herd, probably because his handler was dead and he didn't know where else to go. He wasn't smart enough to wonder why he was here. Smaller than an elephant, fluffy and dense, a pair of blade-sharp horns. They breed these things to crack siege gates, and otherwise just a giant, filthy sheep. You, get over here. He didn't know what I wanted and dropped his head to charge, and then a brother behind him kicked him, and the poor thing came stumbling out and found himself face to face with me, one big horn dropping right into my palm. Beast arm strength. I hauled 2+ tons of war ram over my shoulder and slammed him flat. Bah, he said, lying on his back, paddling his legs, dazed. Who's next? Nobody. The war god likes a fight, not a slaughter. Die taking a bite out of the enemy, and you're a true warrior, but die without leaving a scratch, and no god looks twice. So nobody moved. Fine, I'll come to you. 10 minutes later, I caught the last runner, tore his throat out under the Boarmen's cold stares, and drank him down warm. I didn't chase the Boarmen. Their hogs are slow but tireless, and from a half-mile out it's a coin flip whether I'd catch them. So when I snapped the last dogman's neck, the only thing left alive on the field was that war ram, playing dead, eyes shut, legs trembling, not daring to move. I flipped him right side up, gentle, and rubbed his neck. Be my kid. I'll be good to you your whole life. The second I touched him, I knew. Riding EX had found its perfect mount. Say my combat strength is 10. On a horse without the skill, 5. With it, 12. On this ram, I had a feeling it'd shoot to 18, and that's with the ram being weak. Matched to me, he'd push past 22. Bah! He liked the rubbing but was still scared of me. He'd just watched me carve up orcs like cabbages. Then I climbed onto his back. He bucked on instinct. His pride wouldn't be tamed. So I gave him the first course of the dinner I owed him. 1 red dragon fruit. And his eyes cleared up like a freshman who'd just learned how the world worked. I'm Quinn. I'm your dad now. Got it. He nodded so hard he nearly knocked himself out. Meek as a lamb. There's a difference between a little lamb and a big ram. Call a lamb a man-eater and it can only sigh and accept it. Call a big ram a man-eater and it'll kick you dead before you finish the sentence. This one was now 1 dragon fruit away from nuzzling my belly. I patted his head. I'll find you something to eat later. His eyes lit at eat. Every language in this world got unified ages ago, so he understood me fine. His throat just can't make the words. Life under the Boormen was bad. 1 wrong move, and you got dragged out and shared around. And they never fed you anything but the odd rotten scrap and berries and grass. Not food at all, the leavings he used to turn his nose up at. At the word eat, the tears just rolled. He'd been starving. Lily, what are you doing? I'm boom boom booming. What's boom boom booming? 2 heads slamming together, foreheads going red, neither backing off. The war ram reared, dropped his full weight, and Lily put her smooth helmet dome into his skull. Boom, boom, boom. That's boom boom booming. A game only she plays with him. The captain watched, delighted. He's about 27 or so and acts like a kid about half the things in life. Polybo's only 19 and runs half the fortress. Hester runs the other half. Without the captain lifting a finger, he's basically a mascot. Most line captains are like that. Butlers and cooks and servants tending their every need. Near enough on vacation, since with so few legends in the world nobody's worried about losing the job. Quinn, this thing's great, haha. Lily, win, and I'll have Hester bake you a 3-tier cake. Don't lose, kid. I picked you myself. Polybo used to be the one keeping the captain company. Now it's me, and Polybo isn't sad about the demotion. He's a little thrilled. When the captain's busy, he doesn't beat Polybo. When I'm busy, I don't beat Polybo. Double the luck. Boom. The ground cracked under the impact. Lily staggered back 2 steps, nearly toppled, and the war ram lifted his head, horns flashing, victorious. Hester had hit him with a cleaning miracle, gray fur to soft white now, smelling faintly of grass. He'd melted into our little group in days, mostly because he was finally eating meat. The captain consoled the sulking Lily, then turned. Polybo, you're up. Polybo looked at the 4-ton ram, looked at his own frame that couldn't take one of Lily's punches, and said nothing. You want me to wrestle that? You want me dead? 2 outcomes, head on, gored by the blade horns, or crushed by 4 tons. He didn't think his defense beat a city gate, bulwark or not. I cut in before the captain forced it. Captain, the kid can't beat my baby. How about you? No legend power. Let my baby take a run at you. The captain's eyes lit instantly, breath going heavy behind the faceplate. Outrageous, me, a legend, wrestling a beast, then send Polybo. Polybo swallowed his objection whole. The captain planted himself like a city wall, clapped, and roared. Come on then. My turn. The ram's little black eyes went serious. He could feel that this human was stronger than Quinn. He charged, every ounce of miracle power lit, even his fluffy tail shivering. And the captain caught 1 horn in 1 hand and stopped him cold. Easier than I do it with beast arm. Captain's amazing. Lily cheered on tiptoe. The captain laughed hard enough to shake the ground. Off in the corner, only Polybo crouched drawing circles in the dirt, muttering, no manners, brute, beast, the dignity of royal blood, the honor of gold hair. No prizes for guessing that earned him a beating. And by the captain's eyes, not a light one. The ram, about 3 years old, no brighter than a toddler, which made him perfect company for Lily, who's perfect company for me and the captain, made it the 4 big kids' best day at the fortress. The only one not having fun was Polybo, mouth stuffed with wool. That night I figured I'd shake Wes out of his sulk. He'd been complaining I was always busy, and I was. Orcs to kill, a ram to walk, Lily to play with, Melissa hauling me off to spar, Hester finding me jobs. So I took Wes to Hester's office on the excuse of asking about his training. The real plan was to needle Hester with Wes standing right there, betting she wouldn't dare run me off her usual bold way in front of him. I lashed onto her leg. Hester, do me a favor. Take your filthy hand off. No, no. Promise me first. Wes gaped. When did Lady Hester get so easy to talk to? In his eyes, this was her being gentle. She ignored the man rubbing his head against her thigh and kept writing. My furnace knowledge had been a gift, and not just for iron. The same tricks sorted any metal by melting point. Faster forging, less power spent. And she froze. Looked down at me. I looked up at her. A flush rose, and her power smothered it. Sniff. My nose caught that strange smell again, the same one off her last time. How long since you bathed? You reek. And you called me stinky. Hands off. Flat, cold, ice in her eyes. She'd figured it out. I'd come to make trouble, betting Wes's presence kept her hands tied. Last warning. Let go, or you face the consequences. Heh. Same trick won't work twice on a saint. Low just for her ears. A rare feeling climbed from her gut to her skull. Hester, Hester. Enough. She pressed a hand to my head and couldn't move me an inch. She's a support class, after all. I didn't want to do this. You changed my mind. Gold light burst out of her, brutal heat and wind tearing through the little room. Legend descend. Human history begins in fire. Its turning point shall be fire as well. I, Hester, in the name of the goddess of plenty, here let fall a body of flame and embrace the tide of steel. Legend made manifest, the eternal earth forge. So that's how Hester became a legend, and how I ended up sprinting out of her office. I found the captain first, fresh off dinner, and laid it all out, and he reached his conclusion. So, you helped Hester make legend, and now she wants to repay you by stringing you up and beating you? I nodded hard. Fickle, two-faced little villain, that Hester. Then I begged him to hide me from her. He thought about it 3 seconds and refused. Has it occurred to you, he spread his hands, helpless, that I'm scared of her too? When's the last time you saw me hit her back? Right. He'd told me once. Hester watched him grow up, and every time he throws a tantrum in front of her she zaps him, and he has never once retaliated. I didn't get to chew on that, because a powerful pull hit my back and yanked me clean off my feet into a soft little hand. I turned to a gorgeous, perfectly composed face, and a heat at my throat like a volcano about to blow. Hi, lady. Lady Hester. I haven't heard you call me lady in a long time. She said it in a gentleness I'd never heard from her, dragging me along the floor, sweeping the watching patrol with a look that put every head down. Captain, I'm requisitioning the lockup tonight. Sure. Don't kill him. I like that one. Inside, no torture came. Just silence. She sat on the bed and looked at me until my skin crawled. Hester, maim me however you like, just not the face. Ruin this handsome mug and the world never sees my. A tuft of my hair caught fire, a 500-degree spark snapping in the dark, off a flick of her finger. A legend doesn't have to chant the whole rite. She'd drawn the barest thread from her furnace and snapped it out, silent, unseeable. When I went quiet, she asked it small. Why did you push me? A few more days and I'd have, she stopped, hands twisting at her stomach. I'd somehow ended up sitting beside her. A few more days, and you'd have made legend on the medical genius you'll never actually reach. Her pupils shrank, teeth clenching, caught out. She hadn't wanted to ascend on my back. She'd wanted to do it on her own research, her own mind, carve herself into history. But the truth was cruel. 20 years of study weren't worth 3 sentences from me, by the goddess's own measure. The second Wes walked in with me, she'd swapped her medical manuscript for the knowledge I'd given her, uploaded it on Reflex, and slid past the last wall like it wasn't there. She didn't know how to finish. I told you I'd make you a myth, I said. Was I lying? No. A near invisible nod. Then we keep this pace. I feed you what I know, piece by piece, and you turn it into power. That's all. The room went so quiet our breathing was deafening. The heat at her shoulder felt like a hand wanting to stroke down her arm. Why, she said. Why hold all that knowledge and not choose the goddess of plenty? I'm a legend now. If you wanted, I could play you the hymn of flourishing, and with your mind you'd become a steward of plenty in a single hearing. Same as the captain handing me my path to elite. A legend gets transformed into rights, and anyone who hears the tune is pulled into a dream and judged by the goddess herself. I shook my head from the foot of the bed, stripped off my shirt, and struck a pose, because I love these muscles even if only a few of the male soldiers can appreciate them. I know exactly how much power and how much brains I've got. And most of the time, my superior brains are telling me I need to use my superior power to cave in an enemy's skull right now. So I just want power. Pure power. This watered-down stuff can't live in me. Her mouth twitched up before she crushed it. Only I seem able to keep tugging her feelings around like this. Come to think of it, she started, and I flickered to the foot of the bed behind her. You didn't cut your hair. I'd lifted a small strand to my nose and sniffed it. A flush ran up her face. That's not where the smell comes from. She went still. Hester, you give off a strong, sharp scent sometimes. Any idea why? Do I? Maybe it's just my constitution, visibly nervous now, twisting her hem. And my next line spiked her little heart clean to the top. Wes gives off the same smell sometimes. Do you two have something going on? That? I'm not sure. Why are you stammering? Speak up. Oh, she went quiet. Not the cold kind. The content kind, like just being in the same room as this animal filled something in her. A settled feeling she couldn't put words to. Family, almost. You're like this, and it's throwing me off, I said, and stood to leave, and found a tuft of my hair pinched between her fingers. Don't go. Small. Pleading. A pet begging its owner not to leave. I hate you like this, I said, no mercy. You look like a weak thing. She flinched, bit her lip, a strange ache in her chest. He's refusing me again. She'd made herself so obvious. Her grip slipped, the strand sliding free, and she watched me walk for the door with tears gathering. Then her eyes went cold. Legend power erupted. Before I could move, iron chains clamped all four of my limbs. The goddess of plenty is one of the oldest gods, present since the first language was spoken, and what she grants lets her followers borrow other gods' powers at a steeper cost. Hester had just borrowed the executioner's iron binding, a legend's weapon, because she'd realized something. She wasn't an elite anymore. She was a legend, a dance priestess of plenty, the kind a whole country looks up to, and a strong person's will doesn't bend to anyone else's. She wanted this weak thing for family, and no law and no soul on earth would stop her, and anyone who objected could go argue with the furnace from inside her cage. You're insane. I want to go to bed. Let me go, or I'll bite you to death. I rattled the chains, cornered like a spooked dog baring its teeth. She didn't care, but the second she opened her mouth, she found herself stammering. The courage shot up her throat, and the feeling stopped it cold, and my next line shoved it back down. Just what? Just got lonely and grabbed the first thing to lean on, and it was me? The captain's a hell of a lot more reliable. You don't understand. The captain's not like you. I understand this is not a good idea for you. My mouth got stopped. She'd decided action suited her better than words. She can't out-talk me, but as a legend, in will and in strength, she had me beat. A long while. Then she broke off, rolled me over face up, knelt on my stomach, and set it in a cat's purr. Not the last straw a drowning woman grabs at the end. The first sigh the pioneer cuts the road with. You gave me knowledge. I became a legend on it. The legend power in me is stamped all over with your mark. I can feel it. Your mark in my blood, in the marrow of my spine, quiet rising to fierce, until she saw me actually scared and burst out laughing. Real, not faked. You don't fear legends. Why are you afraid of my honest heart? Stop talking, or I'll bite you to death. My teeth snapped at the air. She hit me with a thread of legend power, and my eyelids started fighting each other, same as that night in the box, where I felt nothing and let her do as she pleased. Bad timing. The second she released me, she went white and rigid and stripped the spell off me. What happened? Not us. Something worse. Something deadly. I can't feel the vein miracle anymore. Her body began to heat like a kindling furnace. She's the fortress's only support class. The vein miracle is hers, and as a legend, she can sense it at a distance and chain her power to it. Now the link was just gone. Polluted. 3 breaths, and she had it. The orcs. The ones 2 days ago. Their blood carried a miracle, the kind only a legend can sense, built to wreck the veins. Find the captain. The crystal line's about to be in serious trouble. The vein miracle works like this. The 20 fortresses are tree roots. The miracle around each fortress is the trunk. The scattered outlying veins are leaves and branches. Lose a branch and it regrows in days. That's all those high-tier elites managed last time. Not even one fortress's territory. But foul a root, and the five-color guard comes asking questions. The orcs had done it to Thornspear by pollution, vicious and simple. Picture a finely tuned engine that only runs on premium fuel and feeds itself off the miracle in the ground automatically. Hester's whole job was to open it up daily and check that it ran. Except the orcs had quietly topped off the tank with sludge. Engine seizes on the spot. So Hester had to drain the sludge and prime it fresh before it would turn over again. Simple to say? The sweat on her forehead said otherwise. As an elite, she'd have needed a full day to repair the fortress veins. As a legend, 1 minute, and it nearly bottomed out her brand new legend power to do it. She grabbed me, blew across the fortress, hauled the just-bedded captain out by the collar. Captain, muster every order night. Meeting on the wall. Not the council chamber. With the miracle weakened, half the fortress defenses were down, and if the orcs hit now, there'd be no time to react. A boar rider can cross 6 miles in half an hour, and with the miracle out, 5 minutes is enough for elites to crack a gate. With a legend leading, a tenth of that. I swept far side at the orc side. Just blurred shapes streaking through the dark, slim, strong, explosive. Hester, got a miracle that sees out to 7 miles? No. One legend caps at 3. I sighed. All right, which orc race is slim, fast, that build? Dogmen, leopards, ramfolk, rabbit men. She knelt and pressed a soft hand to the cold stone, and old rune lines crawled out of her palm in every direction, pouring her power into the earth, her black-red robes snapping in the night wind, sweat beading, jaw set. 1 minute, and the trunk vein was running. The knights arrived to find me with one arm at her waist and one at her shoulder, and, worse, Hester not minding. The captain nearly fainted. Last time he nuzzled her, he ate a lightning bolt. She must just be too drained to react yet, they thought. Wait for her to recover, and we'll see Quinn get what's coming. Behind his faceplate, the captain was already snickering, and then I set Hester gently into Melissa's arms. Hester needs rest. Melissa, take her somewhere to sit. I'll brief everyone. Our fortress miracle was wrecked, I told them. By those orcs 2 days ago, they spent their own lives to poison it. But Hester became a legend tonight, and just repaired it. So we're solid. And there's an orc army marching on us right now. A big one. And they'll throw their hardest punch the second they arrive. You don't sortie. You hold the wall, look helpless, and when they come over it, you hit them while they think we're defenseless. Every night, look to Polybo. I'm just the guy who reports. He's the commander they actually follow. Polybo drank in the deference, barely holding back a grin, and waved a hand. Do as he says. The orcs think our veins are dead, so we play dead. Look like we can only cower behind the wall, then crush them with a miracle they don't know we have. Now to the wall. Across the dark, a leopard chieftain named Blackfang lifted his head and bellowed in a legend's voice. Human hero, come, let's settle this to the death. The Blackblood tribe, leopard folk, no epic, 3 legends, middle of the orc pack. No tiger's body, no rats breeding. Even their panthers unremarkable except for one thing, speed. Speed and night sight. Put together, the dread of every weaker race, humans included. The captain stepped off a 60-foot wall and landed like a meteor in the leopard ranks. As you wish, animal. A king against king fight. The leopards cleared a ring. Blackfang was beautiful, black velvet fur, oil-painted with a strange sacred pattern, slim and corded, not an ounce of fat, and on tiptoe his head reached the captain's chin. He laughed off the size gap. They say your legend is from killing a hand of God on the field, the only one of 20 captains who follows no order at all. Your information's good, the captain said, and shook his great axe down into his palm. The bloodied, lightless axe whose name he had to speak to wake. Legend unleashed. Lightless night shadow. Blackfang flickered into 5 shadows, indistinguishable, racing forward in silence. The captain answered. Legend unleashed. Discipline of the self. Broken vessel. Unbroken will. Bent truth. Blessing descend. The beast glow in his eyes died and a thread of gold ignited there instead, and the armored body swelled, 16 feet, 30 feet. A god of a thing, the axe in its fist hungry for blood. And there it was, The axe is the captain's legend, but it's a key. Unleash it and it drains away all his hunt and beast power and reveals what he really is. The gold royal blood of the Golden Empire, the power of the God of Order. No attack art, just a tireless machine swinging a beast's strength. A flat, sexless, machine voice rolled across the field. Estimated time to completion of combat, 3 minutes. Execution, begin. Here's the thing about legends. Not everyone carries an attack art. The stories of weak beating strong are vanishingly rare, and every one of them a monster. Killing a legend as an elite is a miracle. Escaping a legend as an elite is also a miracle. But in a forest chase, with terrain to play, the second has a sliver of a chance. On a flat one-on-one field, it's slaughter. The captain's armored body began to wind up, cold silver light running over the plate like the strength of ancient stars, and you could feel a mountain about to fall. Both pillar arms lifted the single-hand axe and brought it down on the 5 shadows. No dodge, no flight, no defense. This is the strength of gold royal blood, the power of the God of Order. Brother, one of the leopards, ringed in cold killing air, snapped his eyes wide and unleashed his own. Legend unleashed. Shadow walking. A shadow shot out of the dark like an arrow and hit the iron giant, spreading and twisting into a vast black net. Each thread of cold light a thing of pure dark, wrapping the giant's limbs, the joints especially, until the unstoppable downstroke stopped. You worship shadow? The captain shut his eyes and blazed, the law's light tearing the net like cobwebs from a corner. 2 of you, 10 minutes. 3 of you, perhaps longer. Execution suspended. Recalculating win rate. The axe came down anyway and threw up a wave of dust, and the iron giant stood before the wall like a fortress in itself. Strong. Vast. We can't beat him, the leopards thought. Brothers, together, said the third, the strongest, slabbed with muscle, his spotted hide seeming to ripple, the air shaking as he raised a hand. 3 of us. Surely we can take one single legend captain. 3 of you. 20 minutes, the machine voice said. Calculation complete. Execution, resume. The captain was glad they chose to gang up. He'd unsealed his legend at once precisely because he feared one of them peeling off to butcher his soldiers. Any single one of them could cripple me in a stroke. One-on-one, it was a coin flip. If they'd ignored a little elite's challenge and gone for the rank and file instead, nothing could stop them, and 10 minutes is all it takes for a soldier line to break. Hester, the fortress's other legend, was still rebuilding her power. Couldn't fight yet. But by now the leopard army was surely starting to feel the fortress miracle. And the final weapon. Leopards don't crack gates. They throw iron hooks into the gaps and climb. Except the hooks bounced off an unseen wall in a shower of sparks. Polybo stood on the rampart, serene, certain, a mass order bulwark, every elite's weak power pooled into something they never see coming. Leopard sieges are rare, and against a meat grinder formation, they couldn't reach the edge of the wall. Speed's no great advantage in a battle. You never know how many spear points will be waiting for you. A hand landed on Polybo's shoulder. Polybo, brother, mind if I go down and carve a path? He'd watched them fail to even climb and gotten bored, then gotten a better idea. Hold the wall. That was your plan. You won't even keep it? Polybo refused flat. Whatever their feud, in the fortress's hour of need a fighter like me was indispensable. He couldn't let me throw my life away. No, that's no fun. I want a better game. No leaving the wall. That's an order. His eyes went hard, his hand to his sword, ready to throw down, and forgetting the gap between us again. I slammed him into the stone and pinned him with an elbow. Polybo, don't think calling you brother once means I'll be nice. We're the same rank. You're a guard, I'm a guard. I'm only talking to you to kill time before it gets here. Before who? It. Bah. A van-sized war ram launched himself up the wall, misjudged the distance, and crashed onto the rampart. Soldiers scattered from the bulk of him. He picked himself up, patted over, and butted my chest for affection. I swung onto his back, one hand on a horn, one on the cross spear, and squeezed my knees. The leopards below felt something drop off the wall and crater the ground. A weapon? A siege engine? Kuhaha. Baby, let's go. You just run forward. The first leopard elite, the cross spear, punched through, never figured out what the gray thing was until the point was in his throat. Kill everything I see, hear, or touch. The spear spun in my hands like a windmill. Everything that closed lost its head. No need to aim. Bash a leopard with the cross spear, and he goes down. 85%. 15 left. Charge. Forward. Baby heard nothing but my voice and didn't care that the horizon was a wall of orcs. He opened up to a full sprint. Between the spear and the horns, elite leopards lasted no exchange, and the common ones died on contact. The confidence in their eyes turned to panic. Their elites kept their heads, called the frenzy, stacked it, flares lighting the night, snuffing out the second they neared me. On the ram's back, my strength jumped another tier. His soft, thick hide shrugged off claws. He just rammed the skinny things into the air or gored them through. Crackle, crackle, the sound of breaking bone, of breaking courage. Again, I howled, and the blood-soaked ram bellowed back. Boss Slaughter felt good. He wanted more. Baby, turn, one more pass. He shook the corpse bits off his horns, wheeled on a fresh squad of 20 leopard elites, and I leaned down and rubbed his neck. I said, run, don't think, I'll handle the rest. He trusted me on nothing but faith, lowered the horns, and charged. Their leader drew a curved blade. In the name of war, I, Snowfield Elephant Hunter, challenge you to single comb. The cross spear opened his throat mid-word. I raised both arms and roared up at whatever god was watching. In the name of the gods, watch. Behold, witness the gift I offer you. My voice cracked a little. Still no feeling. Not the being watched I'd felt dueling the tiger. But the disappointment died fast, because as I ran another elite through and drank him down, the system sang. Brawn, rank EX. From a certain archer who is a great hero. A strong body is the bare minimum for an archer. You can't draw a bow without it. Poison resistance and defense increased. Good stuff. Strength surged up out of me as the leopard withered. Charge! Charge! The red ram smashed the cordon open, hair flying, helmet gone, and to the leopards I was a demon, every one of them just a melon that moved. East a spear, west a smash, heads popping, red and white spraying onto faces, panic catching like fire. Blade light and arrows closed in, and one squeeze of the knees brought the horns around and split them. Only when the ram's horns opened their chests did they remember he was every bit as deadly as any of them. Ramfolk pour all their resources into their precious blade rams, and outside the high-tier races, you can count on one hand who beats one alone. Baby about done. He was tired too, so he gave it everything, tore for the wall, and nobody stopped him. The leopards just watched me ride a war ram up a 60-foot wall in a ridiculous leaping crash and land on top. Total victory. Polybo started in the second I landed. Defying orders. Even with the captain here, you've got no excuse. He'd gotten smart. I won't follow rules, so he'd try to lean on a stronger person to box me in. But I pointed past him. You don't see them? He followed my finger to the common soldiers in their iron plate, braced, and every one of them had their eyes not on the orcs but on me. The blood-soaked warrior brought them no fear. He brought them courage. How many orcs you think are out there? I asked. 5,000. Leopards don't field many. Polybo, you still don't see our situation. I tapped my eye, hauled him over to Hester, who threw a sound screen around us. I can see them. There are no fewer than 30,000 tonight. Fine for us, with the miracle hole. But the intel said the orcs that poisoned us were only one part. They hit other fortresses too, and those don't have a Hester. They can't borrow their miracles. They have to pay in lives. Which means besides these 30,000 leopards, we may face an even bigger army, maybe from behind us. Thornspear only has a wall on the front. In centuries, it's never faced an enemy from any other side. But the orcs are serious this time. The threat could come from anywhere. So our troops have to stay sky-high on morale. They have to believe they'll win. Believe these leopards are garbage like the boarmen. Our strength comes from order, mechanical thrust, mechanical block. But men aren't iron. Bodies and minds have a limit. So let me work their spirit. Let will carry them till the other fortress's relief comes. Or worst case, let this one lone fortress hold against 100,000 orcs. Lean only on force and order, and the moment their nerves snap, it's over. The words cut the curtain away and showed Polybo the whole battlefield, and the clearer he saw it, the colder his hands went. And it's not just morale, I went on. I have to help the captain put down those 3 legends as fast as possible. I know my own limits. 30,000 orcs would take me till dawn to clear, but the captain only has to stand there to break them. When I charged just now, half the point was morale, the other half was watching whether they noticed me approach the captain's fight. I've got the power to pierce their defense. I'm going to help him. You understand now. Polybo was quiet a long moment. I do. Whatever you do, I'll back you with everything. That's the good thing about the captain's guard. However much they can't stand me day to day, when it counts, the judgment is clear. I took Hester's hand. How are you? 2/10 of my legend power. Enough to unleash one art. Then I might have to ask something hard of you soon. If it helps the captain, I don't mind, she said, soft, and dropped the screen. Where's this honeymoon couple tone coming from? Melissa thought, watching, and decided her friend was simply starving. Polybo, that miracle ballista. Can you hit with it? It's a miracle make. No need to aim, just point it and it locks on. Good. With it, we kill a legend. And maybe, Polybo thought, chest swelling, he ascends himself. Out in the dark, a sharp leopard elite stopped his vanguard, staring at the unbroken wall. Hold on. Weren't the fortress miracles destroyed? Then why won't our hooks bite the stone? His brain trust offered theories. Maybe just hasty reinforcement. If the miracle held, they'd sortie and trade casualties. But tonight they're cowering on the wall, so clearly the power's gone. And that thing that came out earlier fought nothing like an order knight, more like a wild beast warrior. The high priest thinks of everything. When this fortress falls, he'll make legend for sure. The leopard who'd theorized flicked his tail, smug. The Blackblood tribe rises under my guidance after all. The leopards changed tactics. Dozens of solid shadows fixed themselves in midair like stairs. Shadow apprentice work, the Blackblood class, granted by the night goddess, the noble dark whose worshippers are legion. Too weak individually to match a common orc elite, but in numbers, no less a threat to order knights than a frenzied pack. Common elites can leap a wall but get stopped by the knights' bodies. At a relay step in the air, and they vault the human wall and bury it under sheer count. The Blackblood tribe had emptied the camp tonight. 200 champions, for times Thornspear's elites. All in or nothing. That's the leopard way, the way they hunt. Everything, no retreat. The first leopard to land on the wall met a cold flash of Melissa's blade across his throat. She's no berserker, a swordsman, and parrying from every side, she had to give ground back into the knight's wall. But killing one cleanly and untouched is terrifying skill to an order knight. Except that one exception. Any leopard that broke the formation found Lily's hammer waiting to have a long talk with its skull. And in the center of a dozen of them, I laughed loudest. Bring your heads here. I'll take the whole batch at once. Come on, spend this lovely night with me. Isn't that what you wanted? Spear in one hand, blade in the other, weaving them through the dark, I shrugged off everything they had. So they got organized. Forget the knights. Kill the wild beast warrior. Frenzy. Shadow arrow. For came from 4 sides, blood fire maxed out. 8 more behind clasped hands and wove my thigh in a thick black rope. Smart. They knew 8 of them couldn't bind all of me, so they bound one leg. But a miracle fails before a greater miracle. I set it low, and the python of shadow on my leg shattered. Not enough. For headless bodies dropped. A sharp leopard understood what that meant and went cold. He snapped 8 elites miracle in an instant, and I closed a hand on his throat before he could spread the warning. The rest looked to one another and got the message. Do not fight this one. Running now? The order knights closing in had their swords out, and the leopards realized those knights were now nearly as fast as they were. Stripped the speed advantage, and they couldn't even scratch the plate, let alone pierce it. The horrible thought rose. Is the fortress miracle not broken at all? I left the wall holding Lily's hammer in the center, Melissa cleaning up strays, the knights grinding in their meat grinder at 0 losses, and turned to the only fight that mattered. For legends, out in the dark. Baby. Recovered. The ram nuzzled me. 10 minutes since the first charge. He had enough left for one more. I swung up. The leopards around me shuddered and stepped back, like an old hero from a story, undefeated below legend, 1 battle short of ascension. I rode baby off the wall onto a common orc's face and fixed my eyes on the one direction, the 4-legend battlefield. The leopards had to watch me, sardines scattering from a shark. Damn it, that warrior's loose again. Stop him. We can't. That's a siege ram. Don't come this way. Help. War God, protect your child. I hooked the prayer up on the spear and held him aloft as a banner. Anyone tired of living, come try. I drove the ram toward the four-legend ring like scissors through the thickest cloth. No one believed an elite would interfere there. Elites just get vaporized by stray legend power. But that was the trick. I lifted the cross spear, spun the legend power on its tip, and shredded the banner. Legend power. However thin, it can hurt a legend. The four heads turned at once. The captain steadied first, a flicker of displeasure under his faceplate. I shouldn't be here. He could barely hold three of them. Two pinning him, and a third unleashing could kill me in half a minute. Then the displeasure passed. Of all his people, I'm the one he trusts to have a plan. He glanced at a glint of light on the wall, settled, and swung the axe at the three leopards. Brother, stand aside. Let me. The youngest leopard, the most muscled, slammed his arms wide. He'd once beaten a tiger elite head-on, 2 fists to the death, with half his tribe's lives on the line. And for the deed, the resolve, the war god gave him a tiger legend's worth of power. Pure, vast, bodily strength. He clamped the bloody axe in both arms, flesh splitting on the legend power, and didn't give an inch. The pain just woke the savagery. Mongrel, hairless mongrel, is that all you've got? 1 legend each, and the leopard was matching the captain. The captain breathed in. Enemy combat strength rising. Legend reinforcement detected. Decision, deploy divine boon. Spiderweb red lines lit the axe and ran up his arm into the plate. Cornered beast. Fierce tiger. A living tiger head of red blood formed on his shoulder, the pressure too much for a legend to look at. The leopard laughed. Huh. We know the huntin' beast power inside and out. That's why they sent me. His permanent legend, Tiger Breaker's might. No chant, always on. Twice a tiger legend's strength, and double again against anything carrying the tiger trait. Against the captain's fierce tiger, every punch was near an attack art. Can you go higher, human hero? Don't count on your friend. You'll die before he arrives. Red haze cracked the ground for 10 yards as the two strengths ground together. The captain's eyes stayed empty. Calculation begins. Verdict. Within 1 minute, you will die, one by one. 2 leopards came free of the captain and turned on me. That one, not a legend. The elder said low. A mere elite, daring to touch our fight, must have a trick. Don't hold back, brother. End him in 1. Don't worry about the third. He was made to face this captain. Understood. The shadow leopard leapt and spread into a black curtain over 100 yards wide, stars wheeling in it like a swallowed cosmos, shadow walking. The art of the night-crowned priest, the apprentice's upgrade. All around, no weakness, no strength either. It crushes elites, and the captain had torn it like cobwebs in a few breaths. But against a mere elite, it would smother every escape route and squeeze me to paste. Warrior, I grant you your courage, but fail to ascend, and your only fuel. So die here. My heartbeat slowed. Far sight, basic illusion piercing. Found the leopard behind the curtain easy, and the crossbeard came up, the legend power on its tip screaming. Dragon strike. The leopard sneered. Yes, real legend power. Yes, it can wound him. So what? This thin trickle couldn't match the weakest legend art. Never mind tear his. Your arrogance is why you lose. The world went black. My spear sank into a swamp, and the legend power on its tip vanished like a stone into mud. The curtain cinched my throat, drawing blood, biting in like a collar of fangs put on backwards. Trying to ascend by killing a legend, like the others? I couldn't see. Baby trembled under me, terrified, not knowing what crime he'd committed by obeying. I left him out of it and triggered the skills. Cornered beast. Brawn. Beast arm strength. Muscle swelled. Blood roared. And in an instant the shadow leopard felt that what his art had wrapped wasn't an elite, but a beast of his own rank. Cornered beast. Keep the body intact, and you can climb toward myth. I wasn't near myth. Against one single legend orc, I didn't have to be. Elite miracle can't hurt a legend orc, but bodily strength isn't governed by the miracle system at all. The black curtain that flew from his hands burst, and 2 huge hands shoved out of the shreds and clawed for his face. He rolled clear, threw his shadow cloak over himself, refused to grapple. What in the hells? Fights a legend as an elite? Tears my art with bare muscle. Does this human have some legend monster's blood? He backed into something soft. Turned. The war ram. And before he could wonder why a human had tamed a siege ram, a soft chant reached his ears, sharpened the wooden spear, drilled wood for fire, slashed and burned to farm, raised the city-states. To this very day, fire is the turning point of human history. Sacred, pure, searing, 3 words he felt in the notes alone. By the time he understood, a mouth of fire full of hope and future had closed over him. Legend unleashed. The eternal earth forge. Flame ate fur and flesh and bone and soul, like being pressed against the sun. No, like being shoved inside it. He made the right call instantly. Pulled his shadow walking back over himself as a heat shield. Not enough. Mother of night, I offer my light. In return, grant the stars to earth. A river of starlight poured down and drowned the furnace's fire by force. The night goddess fears the sun but craves light, and loves followers who offer it. She grants them a place beside her to watch the stars. The eyes alone. And where his eyes had been, there was nothing left. A shame, I said, walking up to the charred, twitching thing, nerves bare to the wind. On a normal field, I'd have given you a clean one-on-one. But you're the ambushers, and you're strong, and you put the whole fortress at risk. So this is what it has to be. Sorry, kitten. I'll remember you. A punch into his chest, his heart pulled out and into my mouth, the thick blood sucked down. Brother. The cry from across the field was the last thing the leopard heard. Magic resistance. From a certain not entirely law-abiding archer. Strengthens resistance to special energies and dulls their harm. Good. Another one. 1 minute. That was the deal. There was still a legend eyeing me, and I grinned at him in the dark, an iron tower that wouldn't fall, eyes burning through him. One-on-one with that shadow leopard, I might have won or lost. 50-50, 10 minutes minimum. Which is exactly why I'd shown a weakness. Let him think he had me, to buy the window for Hester's furnace. The killing blow at the end was mine. Her 2/10 of a legend, the minimum, lit the fire. I finished it. Most of the credit goes to the leopard, honestly. He underestimated my defense and didn't open with a full power art, or he'd have wrung my head off instead of letting me slip free. But no legend spends 100% on an elite he means to swat. A high-risk gamble, played like it was a sure thing, because for the 2 of us it was. The eldest leopard's knuckles went white. He drove his knee into the ground, shattered it, and exploded off the rebound. You butcher. You killed my brother. I'll flay you and make a war drum of your skin and beat it day and night. Legend unleashed. Endless conquest. I came. I saw. I conquered. The war god's iron hooves crush every race. Charge with me. A common aura art. Useless one-on-one. Made for army battle. He'd held it back this whole time, so the captain couldn't read it. Now his brother's death broke that discipline, and he forgot the Iron Giant entirely and came only for me. Die, I said. Mouthed it. No air for sound. A nonsense thing, no way it stopped him. But the certainty on my face wasn't faked. Because 100 yards off, the ballista had lit up. HSSSS. A bolt of cold white light tore the night like a meteor with the law itself behind it. Drew a several 100-yard line, and hit the eldest leopard square. Splat. Blood on my cheek. I licked it. Not bad. I'd been sipping my own throat blood to heal. Felt like drinking poison to slake thirst. And finally, I had a fresh orc to drink. The first one I'd killed tonight was half-cooked, hardly any blood, and stuffed with legend power that'd scorch my mouth. This one still had 2 legs. That's right. The ballista had left the eldest leopard as a hero-shaped pair of legs. The captain pulled his focus off and put it all on the leopard still in front of him. The flat machine voice rolled out. Judgment confirmed. 20 seconds remained in the minute. Reinforcing cornered beast. Fierce tiger, power transfer. The blood tiger leapt off his shoulder back into the axe, the weight of his arms doubling. How strong is this thing? He can still strengthen the cornered beast. Dismiss weapon. Axe. Convert technique. Dragon strike. The leopard's legs burst with the pressure, blood at his mouth and nose. I will not lose. Once, in a tiger's arena, weak beat strong. I'll do it again. Just one legend, a human hero my own rank. War god, I beg you, I kneel. I'll kill this. AGH. You ambusher. I let go. The cross spear had gone into his spine. The day's last dragon strike, my gift to the leopard the captain had nearly beaten stupid. And before he could move, The real dragon strike landed. The captain's, more than twice mine. The leopard twisted from the skull down, cranium crushed, brain churned, body shredded to a slick of meat. The one who'd matched the iron giant blow for blow, dead in a single strike. I scratched my head. Captain, you playing me? You dragged out a fight against a guy that simple. The captain, still in machine mode, didn't get the joke. Did not parse playing. His attack equaled mine. He met my attack with his attack. I could not break it. His defense, to me, was very weak. Thank you. Your assistance was effective. I dusted off, bored, and looked at the sky, waiting for something. Nothing came. Hey, Hester, I killed an orc. Where's my legend power? Not a flicker. Analysis, the machine voice said. Guard member, Quinn. Once refused the war god's boon. Body now saturated with legend power. Current tier, legend. Additionally locked by 2 gods' attention. 1 legend killed. Deed insufficient. Analysis. Guard member, Hester. Follower of the goddess of plenty. Cannot ascend by ordinary battle record. Analysis. Knight captain. Descendant of the god of order. Cannot ascend except by killing a hero of 3 legends, or reclaiming power by resolve. This is a royal blood secret. Guard member Quinn, do not disclose it. Judgment. Guard member Quinn's decision-making exceeds guard member Polybos. Please analyze the battlefield and decide. I nearly cried. The captain in this mode is so reliable. Forget the details, captain. Use your legend power and scatter the army. In a high martial world, the higher tier wins, and that's the battle. Judgment, crude decision, but viable. Releasing cornered beast. Order, execute. He plowed into the leopard army like a low-flying jet. No one stopped him. Every sweep of his hand carried a storm, and the brutal, muscle-bound orcs went down like wheat stalks. Bones snapped, organs burst, blood in fountains. 10 minutes, and the black tide that had blotted the horizon was broken. Thousands of bodies, and more than half of them killed not by him, but trampled flat in the panicked stampede of their own kind. Legend, release. With no orc left alive near the walls, he shrank from a 30-foot giant back to an 8.5-foot one, the savage brute back on the surface. What are you looking at? Get back. Meeting. Within half an hour, the night's events came in over the Night Glow Captain's light relay, and I'd guessed right. The orcs had hit 4 fortresses at once, polluting the veins with a relic called the Bloodstained Sinner, an epic's work, a sideways trick to knock fortress miracles offline. Of the 4 fronts, Thornspear took the least damage, near 0 losses, thanks to Hester. The others weren't so lucky. Steelfire's captain was swarmed by 4 dogmen legends and died on the spot. The fortress fell, 3 dogmen ascended, and 30,000 civilians and 5,000 soldiers were wiped out. Earthdrake's captain, the giant, was ringed by 2 lizardman legends and held, at the cost of an arm, losing a quarter of his soldiers. Orderhold's captain faced 5 lizardman legends, killed all 5, took his 5th legend art for it, and lost half his order knights, who gave their lives to keep his long-form legend running. He was still out there mopping up 50,000 fearless lizards. Not good, not the worst. Those 7 dogmen who wanted to push to us had Orderhold in the way, and 5 lizard legends had proved, again, how absurdly wide the gaps between legends run. A short meeting, and the captain named me the new elite knight commander and enforcer, because Polybo had been spotted firing the ballista, gotten swarmed by leopard elites, and had a lot of bones broken. He needed rest. His shot didn't ascend him, by the way. The power came from the fortress, so the gods credited the fortress miracle. He just took a beating for nothing. The captain now had to go nurse the immobile Polybo himself. Of all his people, only Hester's any good at caretaking, and she was running on empty. Melissa can do nothing but cut people. Lily nursing Polybo would only worsen his injuries. Me, I'd obviously just bully him, and the rank and file he didn't trust, since everyone's eaten Polybo's temper at some point, and who knows what they'd pull. Also, a knee-jerk from the unconscious Polybo would kick a normal man across the room. Meeting over, in front of everyone, Hester snapped back to her Ice Mountain self and gave her order. Quinn, carry me to the lockup. We're aligning on fortress matters tonight. The captain smiled at that frozen face. There she is. Quinn's getting beaten for sure. Only Melissa couldn't keep a straight face. She rather regretted reminding Hester to be discreet. She'd been dying to watch the doctor announce things in front of everyone. I hauled Hester up, found a comfortable grip, and carried her out the door, one-handed, the soft weight of her tucked against me, and didn't look back. The dark held the lockup like a king who wouldn't give up his throne. Hester sat on the cot in a plain white robe, calm as still water. Polybo's been Enforcer 3 years, but she's young. She handles a lot of things badly. I need you to do better. You understand me? I do. The kid's too green. Charges at everything. Can only make people obey by force. Whatever tricks Polybo had picked up, she ran them like a child copying a grown-up and never catching the heart of it. If the captain and the rest of us hadn't been backstopping her this whole time, somebody would have put a knife in her back long ago. Enforcer's the most enemy-making job there is. On paper, Polybo and I are the same rank. If I'd wanted her job, 5 hard fights would have stripped her of every follower. But we all serve the captain, so I'd never bothered. I just kept extending olive branches she refused to take. Hester shook her head, sighed, and pulled me to her side, smoothing my hair. I trust your character. Just show them the real you, and they won't refuse your orders. My eyes went wide. Wait, you think serious me is the real me? She blinked, caught off guard, as I sprang off the bed and flailed. My normal self is the real one. You people force me to be serious. I don't believe in being some grim, jaw-clenched hero. Life's for living happy. What's the point of all that exhausting solemnity? She gave a soft little laugh and gathered me back in. About the orcs this time, did you notice? You mean the boarmen? I beat her to it. The boarmen, camped in front of the line for ages, were nowhere in this attack. 3 other races came instead. A strange thing. She frowned. Their hero, Hethril, 3 legends. His legend includes an unbeatable cavalry squad. They say in the extreme case of a downed fortress miracle, he can put that whole squad up onto a wall. Not a story. It's happened in other countries. I went grim. They wouldn't give up a prize like a fortress. Taking one made the dogmen 3 new legends. So they've got something bigger planned. And try as I might, I couldn't work out what. The siege of the marshal's own fortress came in by morning. The boarmen had spent 3 epic relics crippling the marshal. His 5 high legend guard had burned out everything they had, pooling 5 men's strength into one off a hastily restored vein, and barely traded heavy wounds with the boarmen's epic. Now 200,000 boarmen had sealed the marshal's fortress so tight nothing could pass. They didn't bother with the other forts. They knew. Take the central crystal fortress and the whole line falls, and the Golden Empire's wall between savagery and civilization shatters. Every boarman could feel the gods' light settling on their race. In under half a month, when the vain miracle finally failed, the fortress falls, and legend boarmen bloom by the dozen. Other fortresses tried to break the ocean of orcs while the epic was down. But cut off from the fortress miracle, Golden Empire soldiers can barely march, let alone run their meat grinder. They ended up gasping, half a step from being cracked open like cans. After 2 fortresses tried and failed, the rest could only watch. The land was thick with boarman scouts. Any move, and a legend rider rode them down. The Empire's no good at open field. The orcs are made for it. So the captains all followed one silent rule. Wait for the Golden Empire to send help. The sky's falling, but tall men hold it up. The Golden Emperor and the Grand Marshal would never let the one line break. So my 3 days were fine, walking the ram, drilling the knights, swapping culture talk with Hester, occasionally working Wes. Hester and I still hadn't taken the last step. Mostly I was shy. Confirm a relationship one day and clean somebody out the next felt wrong. The bashfulness of a small-time cook. If I were experienced, I'd have eaten first and worried later. Lord Quinn, we're all mounted up, sir. A timid order knight bent close. They feared the new boss. Polybo at least was straightforward. Follow orders, and you're fine. I'm the kind who likes to spice things up, and if it goes wrong, you eat it. They'd thought about resisting. I made them an offer. A duel? Me, alone, against all of you. Win, and I'll listen. After the 20th elite went under my boot, nobody resisted the new commander. Their one request now, you beat my squad mate. Fine, just don't beat me. I swung onto the ram. Horses ready? Let's go for a ride. Yes, sir. Nobody dared say no. Take any decision of mine to the captain and you get a toothless scolding. Take my fist, and that's real, especially since I'm tight with the doctor and not worried about killing a few. I'd even gotta punch you while disinfecting the bruise routine. Relax, the leopards are gone. We're just circling the fortress, staying in the miracle range. They breathed easier. As long as they didn't hear "let's go relieve the marshal," a loop around the wall was practically a picnic. And the stirrups and saddle I'd put on the horses worked surprisingly well. The Empire has few cavalry, not because it lacks horses. With their productivity, that's nothing, but because the riding never kept up. Orc skill comes from the bond with mounts they treat as family, one motion and the mount knows. Empire horse and rider average maybe 1.5 to a boar rider's 2. Some captains hit 2.5. But strap on saddle and stirrups, and the rider horse fit jumps a whole tier. Even a half-skilled human can arm wrestle a boar rider. That's the knight's imagined parody. Reality's a long way off. The elite boar riders alone are a huge problem. They're hogs flinging poor horses through the air. See Lily and the Horse King for reference. We circled the fortress, the war ram leading, slowly building speed. So nice, Lily mumbled from the wall. I want to ride a big horse too. Smack from the captain. Last time I left you alone, you nearly crushed yours to death. It's the horse that's useless, calls itself the strongest war horse, and I wasn't even trying. Next time I'll have Quinn watch you, and one wrong move I'll have him whip you. Hee hee, Quinn made me a cake yesterday, he won't whip me. Then I'll do it myself. He lifted her by the head. Ah, below. I led the column into formation. All ranks. I'm the spear point. Spears up, charge. 50 riders on beast blood horses, 200 pounds of knight each, thundered out with the weight of 1,000. Armored heavy cavalry, taking shape. Dusk, and the knights filed back for the best part of their day. I stood at the mess door in shorts and an apron, counting them in. 5 to a table, for dishes and a soup. With Hester able to record a recipe, cook it once, she uploads it, and after that 50 servings in 1 minute. My cooking warped their taste buds into my shape. Potato and beef stew, stir-fried lettuce, egg custard, corn cakes, Christian soup. Best food of their lives. Easily. Better than the palace, surely. And I'd swapped my daytime severity for a goofy young man with no commander's airs, answering every question, work or personal. Some even invited me out to see the noble nightlife in the city quarter. Hester was right there, ears up, so I declined. 3 days, and the new commander fit the role, mixing with the knights in every sense of the word. After dinner, fun time. I stood up on a bench, dropped the apron to bear the lone crest on me, and announced, "Showtime. Ultimate water gun. Summer splash, A+." I sprayed a faucet's worth of cold water into the air, dropping the mess a few degrees and raising the temperature of the room. Whoa, is this a god's power? Do another. Everyone stood and cheered, except a few women, who edged away to avoid the splash. 4/5 of order knights are noble, but soldiering had scrubbed the manners off, and a boss putting on a show triggered the men's inner clowns. My turn. Watch an order knight drink a whole Bordeaux upside down. What willpower? At the door, Hester asked Wes, "Has he always had this condition?" Dunno. He got hit in the head with a rock a few years back and just turned out like this. Wes remembered being the noble, the Kid King, with Quinn his closest tag-along. He used to beat Quinn at everything. Only lately had it flipped. Don't worry, I'll examine his condition. Why does it sound, from Lady Hester's mouth, like Quinn's definitely got a condition? Because I'm a doctor. It looked undignified, Quinn leading those knights in a frenzy, but it wasn't wrong. 3 days, and he'd welded the elites together. Hester couldn't name a second person who could. There's a quality in him that draws them, makes them obey gladly, fighting strength far past Polybo's pure force. The men weren't tools anymore. They were knights with their own will. Polybo's command guaranteed their floor. Quinn's leadership raised their ceiling. I came out last with a lunchbox. "Hey, Hester, hit me with a cleaning miracle." She slapped a glowing palm to my chest, and the mess vanished. Wes thought his eyes were playing tricks. Did Lady Hester just cop a feel of Quinn's pecs? Her 5 fingers practically tied themselves in a knot. No, must have imagined it. Maybe the miracle just needs a special gesture. I took the food and walked the fortress, soldiers greeting me everywhere. I'd become an elite of equal standing with the 4 guards, easy to spot at 2 meters, the tallest man here after the captain. My destination, Polybo's room, next to his. The captain was off feeding Lily. The two gluttons get Hester's ration portions, large and filling. So Polibo had no one nursing her, and I'd brought my own cooking to see my good colleague, and finally see her face. Centuries of genetic refinement mean every golden noble's a silver-haired beauty. That whole nest of knights proved it. I shoved the door open, beaming. Brother Polibo, I brought dinner. How's the injury? Want me to call Hester? Not wanting her old rival to see her hurt, Polibo burrowed into the blanket, until I elbowed her like usual. Eek! The thing under the covers shot off the bed like a startled animal. A small creature curled into a ball, trembling in the corner, pitiful, helpless, eminently bullyable. I grinned and scooped her up, blanket and all. Wrong feel. I yanked the blanket off and a woman's head came out. Silver hair spilled across the pillow, lips pressed, eyes brimming. The picture of the most wronged soul on earth, accusing me in silence. My eyes went cold. I pinched her face. Who the hell are you? Where's my brother Polibo? Talk. MMPHH. You're pinching my mouth shut. I can't talk. My brilliant mind reached a conclusion. Oh, I get it. You're Polibo's girlfriend. That's why you're in his bed. I let go. An invisible force seemed to seize her throat. Your hand shuts me up. Your words leave me speechless. But, thinking it over, that was exactly the kind of thing I'd say. In her mind, I'm strong and not too bright, always swinging first. So believing my nonsense suddenly got easy. She forced a strained smile. Ha, right, I'm Polibo's girlfriend. Lord Polibo said, to come warm his bed. The last two words ground out through her teeth, eyes promising murder. I ignored the hate glare and pointed at the box. That's Polibo's food. Steal one bite, and I'll break your legs. I slapped her cheek a few times, making her shift to dodge the humiliation. Yes, I'll give it to Lord Polibo, vein bulging, body shaking. This bastard needs to die. I looked her up and down, gave a disdainful little spit. And warm his bed properly. Don't wander off, got it? Or I'll have Polibo dump you. He's my best brother. Yes. She was about to lose it. And luckily I felt the impropriety of a man and woman alone in a room and turned to go, leaving behind, just audible. Polibo's got no taste. What an ugly girlfriend. Kill him. I'll kill him. But she couldn't, so she pulled a pink diary from under the pillow and began, teeth grinding, to record the day. She would remember this moment forever. Outside, I pinched my cheeks to keep from laughing until I was sure Polibo couldn't hear, then cracked up. She actually believed me. I had to share this. Not Hester, she'd find it boring. Not Melissa, same humorless streak. Not the kids. So, the captain. A passing knight saw me shaking and rushed over. Lord Quinn, shall I fetch Lady Hester? No, just thought of something funny. Wait, you saying I've got a condition? Ah, huh. Of course not, sir, you're so healthy. I scared him off with a next time look, fixed my face, and slammed the council door open like I do Hester's. Captain, guess what I found? He'd been grim over the sandbox. He relaxed at me, waved the map blank. What's got you so happy? Polibo's a girl. I couldn't even recognize her voice without the helmet. You just now figured that out? That's why I told you not to bully her. She thought her voice wasn't authoritative, so Hester made her a voice-changing helmet, and she's worn it since. He looked bored, until I told the rest, acting out every line. I'm Polibo's girlfriend. Then warm his bed properly. The captain lost it, hands slamming the table. Polibo said that. I nodded, sincerity itself. Every word. Ha, when you go nurse her, do not tell her I know she's a girl. I want to see what she's like in a few days in armor. He nodded gravely. He wanted to see too. Quinn, I'm dying. You're a damn genius, haha. We held together. Only, the more I listened to that low, gravelly baritone of his, the more an idea crept in. Helmet, voice changing. Stop. I shook it out of my head. The captain a woman? That'd make him a 2.5-meter she-gorilla. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. The captain's a good leader. Self-evident. First into a fight, never schemes the budget, no bad habits, warm, and his greatest hobby is bullying Polibo, Lily, and me. Even now, he carried the pressure from above alone and never passed it down. Half an hour earlier, Nightglow had related. Not one epic in the capital showed any sign of marching to the line. Under 5 years to the next succession of the Golden Emperor, and nobody would leave the whirlpool at the crucial moment. Each holding the other's weaknesses, Working pieces light and dark. Move an army epic and a region revolts. The second a captain's aura vanishes, an enemy epic descends, and a few hours is all they need. And in under half a month, the central crystal fortress loses its miracle entirely and can't hold against the Boreman legends. The 5 guard were too hurt to act, which made Hethril, who'd just won his 4th legend, the first Boreman over the wall, the strongest legend on the line. Nobody knew what the 4th art was, but everyone knew this epic's own brother couldn't be beaten one-on-one by any captain, not even Orderhold's 5 legend man. At legend tier, the racial gaps shrink. Even a high-tier tiger won't claim a sure win over a same-tier Boreman. Orderhold rushing him would last 30 exchanges, tops. And Hethril fields a group Oro art that lets his elite riders block and wound legends. It'd take at least 5 captains to beat the 4-legend Hethril, and the Boremen have 6 more legends, each able to fight 2 captains. No, more than 6. The lizards and dogmen hadn't shown all theirs. A knife in the back could come anytime. And every fortress's movements were watched. Under those conditions, how do you win? Nightglow couldn't see it. None of the captains could. Least of all ours. No way we win. Maybe grab Polybo and the rest and run. When the army hits, the whole fortress gets a bloodbath. Next morning, the bright and cheerful captain was startled to see Polybo at the council. He'd meant to rest her 10 more days. Somehow she'd had Lily fetch Hester at dawn to speed heal her in for the meeting. He said nothing, dismissed the knights as usual, and held a small session. Polybo pleaded at once. Captain, reinstate me as commander. That man doesn't know the first thing about command. Oi, Polybo, 3 days without a beating, and your skin's itchy? As established, I'm an equal opportunity hitter. I lifted her by the scruff like an old hen. Lily's a chick, Polybo's an old hen, different feel. She kept at it. The commander's post is more than he can bear. It's my duty. Pass. Ask the captain whose calls are off. He scratched his head, stuck. Pick me, and it wrongs Polybo's years of work. Pick her, and he'd be lying out loud. I've been recognized by his legend mode, the coldest, most rational version of him, and she hasn't. His legend art strips away all excess emotion, does whatever it takes to win. That state is terrifyingly cold and never wrong. So in his current, uncold state, Quinn, just don't be commander. Let's do a relay race later, you and the ram, me and Lily, around the fortress. Huh? What's up? Lily lifted her head and butted Polybo's stomach. Ugh, bones still mending, threatening to break again. Polybo kept her cold smile and raised a trembling arm in a victory pose. I obliged with a fist to her gut, got the satisfying crack, and tossed her to Hester. We can race anytime, but if the knights don't listen to you, I commanded them 3 years, they'll obey me not, smack. Hester's small hand on her helmet, cold-faced, hot finger under the chin. Hold still while I treat you, or I'll make you my legend test subject. Polybo went meek as a child caught by her mother, eyes still burning. Hester set the bones, layered in fast healing power, released her, then yanked me over by the ear and twisted. Bruise her all you want, but crack Polybo's bones again and I take your ear off. Got it. Legend Hester's temper had gotten worse. Lucky she only showed me the bad side. Only I knew she was getting back at me for last night. She loves smacking my palm with somewhere meaty. The dismissed knights got recalled and lined up 50 strong. Polybo looked them over smug. However strong Quinn is, an elite can't sway a battle. The brains, am what matters. First squad, second squad, combat drill. 5 squads of 10. Polybo went to exercise her command and found the knights pinned under a pair of half-smiling eyes with one message. Move and I hit you. The veterans got it instantly. The old boss and new boss were fighting for power. 3 days and you forgot me? Barlow, step out. She drew her sword and pointed at the senior-most knight, blade to his throat. Barlow didn't move. Quinn throws after dinner parties, but that doesn't mean he won't crush you. By imperial law, Polybo can't behead him. She can only smack him around. Quinn knows every weak point. He can string you up for half an hour without lasting harm. But the pain's real and the shame's real. A hothead got an hour 2 mornings ago, screaming, and Hester's heel made the agony feel like a phantom, false yet unforgettable. After that, who resists? More brutal than Polybo, and warmer, opposites in one man. a devil who plays the knight's hearts for sport. The scabbard rang off Barlow's helmet. His choice didn't change. Better a beating from human Polybo than to provoke the devil. Polybo couldn't behead him. She kicked his gut, and he sat down, unresisting. She understood now. He doesn't dare cross me, and dares less to cross Quinn. He's made his pressure outrank mine. Captain, declare to them that I'm reinstated, or you. My hand closed on her head. The captain flicked her aside. The message was clear. If Polybo couldn't handle this herself without the captain ordering it, she wasn't fit to command. A commander who needs the captain every time is no commander at all. He leaned in. Hey, a few days, how'd you do it? The knights were tame as sheep before a wolf. I hit harder than Polybo. Ah, that's it. He clapped, enlightened. Polybo heard, and refused to believe it. He must have some other trick. Hey, why are you all standing there? Didn't Commander Polybo order a drill? Get moving. Nobody spoke, but the armor began to clink. Nobody dared be the one to stick his head up. Polybo, brother, just remembered, we haven't started today's quota, have we? Doesn't the council room count? Her stubbornness cracked. She clutched her stomach, shut her eyes, planted herself in front of me, and roared, Let's duel, eh? I hooked her under the arms and set her beside the captain like a doll. I'll let you off today. The commander's power is mine. When you're healed, we'll play a contest. Try to take this honor from me with your own ability. I turned, the great crest on my back snapping in the morning light, raised a fist overhead, and every heart in the yard locked onto that arm. All ranks cease. To the field, riding drills. Inside, Polybo wailed on the floor. Lily, Quinn bullied me. I'm the commander. The captain and Lily crouched beside her, scratching their heads in unison. Polybo throws tantrums too. Lily had thought only she and the captain did. It seemed worse than the captain stealing her cake. To the captain, this was a learning experience. Polybo had come to the border at 16, no special class like Hester, no gift like Lily, no blade like Melissa, just heart and the wish to grow. She'd learned, the hard way, how vast the gaps between elites run. Back then the captain, still an elite, could thrash her in armor just like Quinn now. He broke into legend in battle and became captain. Polybo took the other road, command, hoping to break through where she couldn't fight. And now some ugly man had taken her place. How could she not be sad? Don't cry, Polybo. Here, the cotton candy Quinn made me yesterday. In a little box so it won't get squished. Tasty, tasty. After a whole box, sniffling, Polybo remembered something. Who made this? Quinn. He makes me lollipops too, and lots of good stuff. Wah. Polybo, why are you crying again? I won't give you cotton candy anymore. Captain, what do I do? Polybo knew, deep down, from the knight's reaction, that Quinn's grip on them far outstripped hers. He could just stand there and they'd watch his face. The captain patted her head. He's a tricky one. You won't out-scheme him. That's normal. You've got plenty of strengths he doesn't. Really? She looked up, hopeful. Helmet off now. Pear blossom in rain. Silver strands at her temples, sniffling. Even Lily's heart aching. She ate too much. Damn you, Polybo. The captain stroked her head with a mother's eyes. Of course. Like what? Silence. Tense. Captain, what can I do better than Quinn? Something he can't. He pondered, then ventured, testing. Bear children. WHHH, louder than ever. Easy, easy, Polybo, think. How do we fight? We use our strengths against the enemy's weaknesses. So think, I can't think of any. Ex-Commander Polybo had reached the end of the road. The captain and Lily were useless. She'd go find Hester. Hester had badmouthed Quinn before, and lately treated him worse, smacking him every 2 sentences while he just took it. She'd have a way. Spears up. Don't move. Tuck the weapon. This is easy for you. 50 pounds. Nothing. Under the blazing sun, I corrected 50 knights one by one. With saddle and stirrups, riding was just learning the horse's rhythm. Each of them was a little Superman, and a fall just meant a bruise gone by sundown. So they didn't complain much. Mostly didn't dare. They'd assumed it was a new boss's first fire show, but no, I genuinely wanted them to master riding. The Empire fields few cavalry. 90% are infantry on horseback for mid-range support, rarely over distance. Not for lack of horses, but for lack of quality mounts. And the line faces the one cavalry superpower on Earth. In a charge, a single boar rider elite would beat them senseless. Spear and wall is the better choice. At elite tier, 50 knights with spears and the bulwark could stop 100 riders. But 50 knights charging riders would get 30 boar riders and scatter in a panic. Everyone knew it. Everyone knew I knew it. Nobody dared ask. I had a plan. On the ram, eyes shut, I felt the damp in the air. I was training too, in secret. Summer Splash. With legend power now I could draw a little real strength from it. Not just a fountain, but a hefty attack boost. My damage runs 2 channels. Bodily strength, beast arm, cornered beast, brawn, buffs, and miracle power, dragon strike, summer splash, output. They stack, like the captain throwing dragon strike with his fist to gut a legend. I can't do that yet. Can't fully command my legend power, and bare fisting it might hurt me. So I run it through a weapon. Close enough, damage-wise. My idea. Combine the day's 3 dragon strikes with summer splash. Weave the water element, chakra, into the Rasen, focus. Weave summer splash's force into dragon strike to punch through legend defense. Because from that leopard ambush, I learned my dragon strike might just get caught barehanded. The captain talks it up, but freshly learned, mine only does about a legend's basic attack damage. Against a conscious block or an unleashed art, it does nothing. That first leopard's art canceled it cold. I'd gotten Ashina and could reverse kill elites. Now, with several self-buffs, I'm only matching a legend's auto attack. Painful. So I can't bank everything on the archer system. No telling what comes next. I have to build my own high damage hand. And time was short. The cavalry clash was coming, because none of the 19 surviving captains would sit and die. All I could do was pour every scrap of my old life knowledge into these knights riding. Then take the point myself and shatter the boar riders. Hester, please, tell me Quinn's weakness. Or help me subdue him. Slap his face hard. Polybo, total focus on Hester's face. That cold, everyone owes me money face. Which, just now, looked rather like it wanted to laugh. Hester used legend power to suppress the smile and hauled Polybo up. The two are guards, but not close. Hester's warned that keep away face since Polybo was small, so little Polybo never dared talk to her. Strict teacher, withdrawn failing student. I'm begging you. Even Hester had to look away from the pleading. Only Quinn would lay hands on a beauty like that. That uncultured animal. Though, Quinn being like that suited her. Beasts are easy to tame. Show one your honest heart, and he answers without reserve. Hester? Hester? You spaced out. Polybo had called twice. Hester straightened, pressed her knees together, and said gravely, I'm thinking about how to deal with Quinn tonight. Not a lie. More important to her right now than the whole line. The Empire's worries are the Empire's. As a legend, she can flee with a few people, and her own kin won't watch her die. From the goddess's records, she'd seen many civilizations fall. The closer a dynasty turns over, the more chaos. Some sacrifice is inevitable, and so is the flourishing after. A dance priestess of plenty isn't the fighting type. She's a beacon for civilization. Every plenty follower who became an epic was a saint. 7 legend deeds only prove your strength. To become epic, you must understand the weight of the word plenty. Far south, there's a country founded by a plenty epic, on good terms with empires, though it shelters no myth. Not for the class's rarity, but because long ago, at the cost of his own sight, he ended an empire's famine, asking nothing, out of pure mercy. The saved king, before all his court, knelt on one knee in true thanks. That king was a myth hero who'd slain a fallen god priest. Hester, you spaced out again. Hauled back by Polybo's shout, Hester's face went radiant with holy light, and she patted the knight's head. Have no fear, child. The gods will give you your answer. Arg, so annoying. Why is everyone so unreliable? Polybo bottled it. Vent, and she'd eat the beating she'd dodged today, from Hester this time. Leaving the office, Polybo ran into me with a lunchbox, same as yesterday's. He's bringing me food? How'd he know I'm here? Is he following me? 3 suspicions, and she backed off warily. Kindness with no cause means a thief or a knave. But I just glanced at her, walked past, and pushed Hester's door open. Then Polybo heard from inside. Lady Hester dinner delivery. Humph, good timing. No party tonight. Tough day. Sent them to rest. Party tomorrow. I made you and Wes a love dinner. Disgusting. But since you went to the trouble, I'll try it. Hester, Don't go too far. I brought you dinner, ah? Polybo snickered outside. Finally, that pest got hit. Nice work, Hester. Except, why did Quinn's groan sound a little different than she'd imagined? Did Hester hit him that hard? Huh. Serves the pest right. Deep night. A meteor crossed the sky. Hester woke with a snap, swept a hand up. Legend power lanced out as pale light and caught the message, printing it on paper. Nightglow's intel, one line this time, miracle repaired. Meeting begins. Each Fortress Council chamber is branded with the Nightglow Captain's legend. Through starlight and moonshine, it links all 20 fortresses into a pocket space outside this world, projecting 20 council rooms together. Message passing is just one effect of the art, one of the 4 legend arts held by the 134-year-old Nightglow Captain, the most senior of all the captains. Even today's Marshal is his junior. With an art like that, Nightglow sits safest in the deep rear. Enter the council room, and you step into the unleashed legend, joining 20 fortresses from 10 to 100 miles apart. In a red robe, dragging a dead-asleep me, Hester blew across the fortress, plucking us up one by one. The captain, Lily, Polybo, Melissa, and dropped all 5 of us into the council room. Polybo flailed midair, terrified of the height. The rest landed clean. Nobody spoke, not even me, because the instant we entered, our vision changed. Deep dark scattered with starlight, borders woven of blue glowing nebulae, mysterious patterns flowing across the floor like living things. The captain took the nearest seat, his 5 guards behind him, waiting for the others. Thornspear's chairs, projected, became heaps of silver star sand drawn down from the far sky. Other captains and guards descended and filled the chairs, varying in height, identical in armor, leaving one empty seat. Steelfire's captain. He'd already gone to meet the god of order. Eyes kept landing on our side, on me and Hester. They could feel her a legend, and me carrying legend power too. 3 legends. No wonder the 1 legend Thornspear captain beat 3 legend orcs at near 0 loss. 2 elites ascending in time to help against 3 orc legends. A captain's incredible luck. Meanwhile, the 2 other struck captains had lost an arm and half a command between them. Not weak, just exposed. Their intel leaked, their legends targeted, or they'd have gotten clear. When all were present, the Nightglow captain raised a hand and spoke, old and grave. My intelligence agents in the Empire have relayed this. Order Watcher Cecilia declines to aid, citing old wounds from fighting the Dark Elves and demons of the Sapphire Wood. Golden Dragon King Dragon declines, citing his guard of the Dragon Tombs. War God Regula declines, citing his post. Giant King Claire declines, citing being no match for a foreign epic. The 3 kings, Ralph Raymond Redall, decline, citing not yet mastering epic power. His voice carried deep disappointment in the country he'd served over a century, though not for the Golden Emperor and Grand Marshal, the 2 at the apex he revered to obsession. For those 5 epics, he had nothing. Princes and princesses, feuding while an enemy invades, betraying the faith in their own blood. Heirs of the God of Order should not be like this. The Crystal Line has stood centuries. The day the Central Fortress falls is the day we die. Your thoughts, all of you. 18 captains and their guards murmured. One alone, with tiger's eyes, fixed steadily on the Nightglow captain, who nodded for him to wait. A few sat heads down, hiding indecisive eyes behind their helms. Break the line and they die, if they hold. Abandon the fortress and flee, and even if caught, a legend hero does a few years and gets put to good use again. Gradually most heads lifted, eyes firm. 3 stayed down. Thornspear, Orderhold, Steelblade. Silence that was itself an answer. The Orderhold captain, 5 legends, the strongest tier present, dared not meet a single colleague's eye. He had a reason more important than faith. 40 years old, a noble who'd lost in politics. 20-plus years on the border, sustained by his father and brother far in the Empire's west. Die here, and the family he holds up alone gets devoured by wolves overnight. The Steelblade captain's case was similar but worse. A criminal, a silver blood who'd killed his royal blood wife caught with a stable hand, come to the border to atone, with 2 children and a sister at home who'd be killed by his wife's father the very day his death was known. Both burned with shame at being unable to give their strength. Our captain's side, though, was different. He'd severed the link to Night Glow entirely. No, I will absolutely not let you join their plan. Any plan. Hester, hands on hips, silver hair whipping in her legend power. You don't know what the orcs have over there. Charge and blind and you'll die? And you, don't think I can't see what you're plotting. The Boormen prepared for this for who knows how many years. Every legend hero of theirs holds an attack art. Touch one and you die. No exceptions. Don't dream of killing them with legend power weaker than the lowest legend heroes. Threatened with her flames, I gave her a submissive look. As a mortal, I'd beaten elite Hester. As an elite, I couldn't beat legend Hester even without her art. Too many tricks. The captain, 2.5 meters, bowed like a meek cat before the furious Hester. But Senior really took care of me. If not for him, I'd have been. She cut him off, taking the big sister posture, tears trembling in her cold eyes. There's no choice. If even they can't solve this crisis, what good does you going do? Senior saved me. I have to repay him. If the line falls, he dies too. The captain's Senior is the line's marshal, the Dragon Slayer epic. If the central fortress falls, he dies. Hurt as he is now, he can't escape. And he'd be the prize every Boorman legend hunts. Kill him and gain a legend. But no buts. Unless you can win a second legend. My hair stood up. The captain's eyes blazed red, blood haze on his armor, legend power bursting. His tiger eyes locked on Hester like he'd devour her if she said one more word. She didn't flinch until he saw her eyes had filled with tears and jerked the aura back. His voice dropped 3 notches. Actually, I wasn't planning to go either. Because you're all my best family. Kids only half for now, TBD. I'll take responsibility for you. But Senior matters too. Hester, you understand. He saved our lives more than once. Remembering the kind, white-bearded old man, the captain went serious. Quinn, Melissa, Lily, Polibo, Hester, all of you can stay. But I can't. He saved me. 3 times he said it, each firmer. His values are simple. Repay kindness, repay grudges. I gave the tip that saved him. He gave me elite ascension, Lily as a shield, a place in his guard. An epic who saved his life. He couldn't repay that the same way. His own trivial life was the only chip he could push. He didn't want to flee out of fear. He wanted to protect the 5 of us. But the council had taught the beast something. He wasn't the only one with a family. The other 18 captains all had families, and not one complained, save the 2 whose families would be ruined. So I won't run. And if there's truly mortal danger. He stood, bent to put his eyes level with the woman who barely reached his chest, and laid his helmet gently against her head. Hester, this is my promise. If it comes to danger, I'll use the final measure. I won't die. You understand, don't you? She said nothing, assent. But she seized me and Melissa by the collars, fierce, a sob in her voice. These 2 absolutely cannot go with you. That's my line. Polibo and Lily she trusted to obey. Me and Melissa, a combat-mad swordswoman and a pure butcher, both past ordinary elites, needed warning. One slip and a legend notices you. I know you trained cavalry to ride out with the captain. You don't go. Let Polibo lead, clear the fringe orc squads. You're really not afraid the fortress's whole elite force gets wiped? My disdain for Polibo was naked. She could only glare like the captain does. There won't be elite boar riders on the fringe. They'll mass everything around the crystal fortress. The captain nodded gravely, then turned on me. You do not take the field. Practice in the fortress. Yes, sir. Watching those red eyes blink in the helmet's holes, I stood tall and answered eagerly. Hester, still worked up, missed the small move entirely. She took the captain's gauntlet and mended it, reconnecting us to the star meeting. Many dents don't matter, but she wouldn't let her carelessness be the inch that loses the mile. Reconnected, the captain lifted his head and looked solemnly at the night glow captain. That last gaze warmed the old man's heart. 17 of the Crystal Line's captains, -1 dead, -2 helpless, chose, every one, not to flinch. This war wasn't only the Boormen's chance. It was the Line's. Hold the one army able to break a wall unbroken in 5 centuries, and that blinding legend settles on every captain present. After that came captain's only talk. The guards filed out to wait. About half an hour, and the starlight faded. The captain came back to himself. Quinn, stay. The rest out. The others left. Polyba with a sulky glance, like it was something bad for her. But Hester gave me an encouraging look. A shaft of starlight spilled in from no direction at all, soft and deep, like time died still. Nightglow's legend power, undispersed, with an unfinished task. Stand there. The captain shoved my shoulder into the deep light. Holy, vast, beyond any word of praise, a pure white shadow, 3 eyes mirroring a 9-pointed star, 3 pairs of full wings descending light, stroking me with love. The sacred pact is made. I came out of the trance with that white shadow filling my whole head, and a flood of knowledge, the god of order. Triangle, the stable shape. 9-pointed star, a god's ultimate power, and the sign of sun and day, holding part of the sky's authority. 3 pairs of wings, crown and scepter, body and will, rule and justice. The captain patted my head. I was going to watch you longer, but this op's too important. You have to be the bait. Nightglow saw you didn't have this mark yet, so he had the Holy Law captain make one on the spot and send it by his legend. With this, you're 3/4 family, and you've earned the right to know my real name. He grinned. But I won't tell you. After this, we'll throw a party together. I've wanted to for ages. We just had too few people. Counting you. That's 6 at the party. He buried the rest of his cheer. The party's for after we get back. First, the op. You're in it. I'll find a way to fool Hester. I nodded, digesting. The order seal does one thing only. Locks intel. Even an epic can't pull a single fact about the captain out of me, because it's a myth-grade relic. Its divine power is so faint it's near unmeasurable, but its divine power, top of the world, and everything here obeys one rule. A miracle fails before a greater miracle. It does nothing else, and gets replanted about every 3 years. The op's 3 nights out after dark. You lead 200 order knights, every order knight from 4 fortresses, and charge the orc army. Scatter every elite. You know the reason. We'll pin the Boreman legends and keep them off you. Can you do it? I nodded. Stacked over a vast base, the war god's frenzy on a legend nearly adds a whole legend's worth. On baby, I could scatter 40 or 50 frenzied elites. Past 50 boar riders, I'd have to dodge. 1 boar rider counts as 2 elites. They're riding a hog. Cavalry on open plain is a scythe. Nothing grows where it passes. Among elites, only you have this strength. Don't worry about the legends. We'll handle them. And if there's danger I can't avoid, I'll take a second legend to save you. No anger this time. No break. Just everything swallowed down his throat. Once you've made that choice and foreseen the consequence, it's not so hard to accept. Remember, short of absolute necessity, I do not want to use my trump card. Got it. I nodded. I felt like a nodding machine. But that's the price of the order seal. Keep your mouth shut. Honestly, none of us are sure we can stop them. This was the only plan. We're far short on legend strength. Or we wouldn't send a guy who's not even a legend to do this. But pull it off, and you might just ascend. He knew my legend power had me counted as a legend hero, which made earning a legend art as hard as a 1 legend hero earning his second, which is partly why he pulled me into a mission to save the whole line. As for our true objective, the council hasn't even named it, says it can't leak. Only the executing captains may know. Nightglow says if it lands, it turns the whole board and snatches victory from defeat. Excited as a kid, he threw a fist through the air. I watched him, then threw one too. His fist sat high, mine low. He was about to bend down again when I stepped onto the council table to meet it. He grinned, hooked his arms under mine, and lifted me like a child. Hey, you suit me, kid. Wait, why do you reek of Hester? What the hell are you two doing? She beats you that hard. I nodded, hard. Hester loves smacking my palm with somewhere. 3 days later. Thornspear. Lily, I told you to watch the ram and the man. Where's the ram? The little knight stood in the yard, poking her 2 fingers together. Lost. And the man, smaller still, went to find the ram. 3 living things in this courtyard, and you lost the ram and the man. Lily's brows nodded, voice for her ears only. The captain said to play hide and seek with the ram, and I couldn't find it. Hester slapped her own forehead. She should have seen through why the captain sent her off. The whole saddle and stirrup business was a smokescreen. It was to get Quinn out leading the charge. Beautiful this weather. 10 miles from the fortress, I looked up. Night, a vast gray curtain over the sky, black cloud rolling in waves, the air thick and damp, Pressure on the chest, thunder coming. Behind me, 50 order knights in full kit, horses armored too, and joining up, fortress by fortress, hundreds more. Hey, you're Quinn? I'd never have believed anyone could tame a siege ram till I saw it. Name's Rezer, Earthdrake. A heavy-armored knight trotted up alongside Baby and introduced himself. Someone more extroverted than me. I raised a brow, grinned. Your baby's not bad either. Looks strong. His warhorse was glossy, thick-limbed, mane heavy, breath steaming. Not elite, but no common warrior could have tamed it. Yeah? Thanks. He stroked its back, fond. Weren't we promised 50? Why'd you bring 400? He looked at me oddly. The man he had to obey on this field didn't even know this. Cannon fodder. They're ours. We're the captains. The captains are the marshals the lines. All for the wall. I don't mind it. It's just, this one's only 6. Dying on a field, such a waste. Rezer said it like it was obvious. Except me, nobody thought they'd live. Cavalry against an orc army? What kind of idea was that? Even captains doubted that part of the plan. But somebody had to ride at the front of the boar riders, or the plan died on the page. I was the only choice outside the captains, for captains who'd seen my strength, Earthdrake, Thornspear, Orderhold, Steel Shell, vouched for me. And so I got this suicide vanguard job. Relax, just stay behind me. All of you. Bulwark up, charge forward, ignore everything else. Hope it's that simple. I'd like that. Rezer shrugged, life and death long past caring about, knowing only that he had to burn this body for the captains. Other fortresses sent a lot. Feels like mine sent the fewest. Your fortress doesn't keep horses, not enough beast blood mounts, Rezer explained kindly. Common horses go weak-kneed before an elite tusk hog. You need beast blood to even clash with an elite boar rider. This is everything our fortresses had. Clash, not contend. The riding gap's too wide even with Thornspear's saddles and stirrups. Orderhold's lead knight was a silent man with 2 great swords, a strength build, though probably weaker than one of my hands. Steelshell's was a shy young man a year younger than me. When everyone gathered I counted, 800, dead on. 200 elites, 600 trained commoners. And the Boarman army we were to charge, 200,000. Over 190,000 common boarmen and hogs, 600 plus elites. A gap like that, this feels great. Off in the distance, 2 captains sized me up. In the star meeting they'd felt my legend power. In the flesh it was faint. Special circumstances, Earthdrake explained. This man once refused a god's boon. Counted an elite, but his presence already matched a legend. Use him as one and you're not overrating him. Thornspear, where's your other legend? She's a dance priestess of plenty, no combat ability. Remembering Hester nearly one-shotting an orc hero with under half her legend power, his voice went uncertain. By rights, a dance priestess of plenty has tools, but no combat sense or experience. All those skills are toys, good for bullying elites. Except Hester's art is too strong. That furnace is pure heat and cage. Even the captain isn't sure he could break free before being charred. Even so, the captain wouldn't let her on the field. No, outside her art, she's got nothing. She'd just be a liability. The captains accepted it. Then they turned their eyes to the far horizon. The high bright moon had just had a blindfold pulled over it. So nice. A cold wind crossed the plain. Hethril scooped up a handful of soil and let it run through his fingers. Soft, rich earth that grows red sweet fruit, raises starving kin, breeds 10,000 generations. His wish, every Boarman legend's wish. He'd foreseen the fortresses would act, and known that with both sides' epics crippled, the legends would decide it. But he hadn't expected the humans had a way to talk to each other. He'd sealed the veins, the birds and beasts, the water, everything, and still they'd united. As I thought, a place that held us off for centuries doesn't fall so easily. He'd sealed their comms to stop a simultaneous sortie. 20 fortresses, 50 elites each, 1,000 order knights, who get stronger in numbers, even part replaced, a legend-level force. Let them merge, and he might not win. That's the human's edge. The Boarman's edge, strong legends, and allies. Near 20 legends even after rough sieges. So he'd used 20 legends, himself included, to scatter the gathering humans. A last look at the sleeping epic Arlanza, and Hethril left the tent, gripping his blades, pressing them to his chest. "Brother, watch over me. As a commander, I'm far from mature, but I'll bring you a record you'll be proud of." The legends around him gave him confident eyes and laid out their parts to share his load. "I've gathered the black blood remnants, attacking Thornspear now. The Blade Tusk legends will charge again. A fortress without a resident legend, miracle or not, is far weaker. The Steelclaw tribe agrees to sortie. This time we break the front." Hethril shouldered his twin blades, smiling. A young, vital race like this was worth his life. He strode through the prostrate Boarman elites. "I know why they chose Night. Our kin can't see in the dark until they're champions. But our champions fear no darkness. The war god's eye pierces it and watches every warrior who fights to the death. The first prophecy is fulfilled. Our tribe is vaster than ever. Even 1,000 years ago, when the war god's children ruled this continent, no Boarman epic was born. 1,000 years passed, orcs ruled, 9 myths, anyone able to pin several foreign myths. Boarmen then were low food, like rats and dogmen, for the high orcs to eat and toy with. 1,000 years on, they're at their peak. Over 200,000 fighters, 7 legends, 1 epic. The second prophecy too. The soil under our feet is no lie. The myth beast Godblood Black Net has lived untold ages. Even the mightiest elf dynasty in history couldn't slay it, only wound and repel it, so it most hates elf myth power. Arlanza, on an old venture, won a relic that scrambles the beast's senses and reeks of what it loathes, letting 200,000 Boarmen slip through its territory unnoticed. The elites lifted their heads, eyes burning. The third prophecy. Tonight, an unmatched legend hero is born among us. Warriors, let me see who that legend will be. In the name of war, in the name of war, the roar tore through the cloud, wave on wave, climbing the heavens. Hethril judged the moment, drew a gem, and threw it up, and it swelled into a small sun, hung hundreds of meters high, soft light pouring over 10 miles of land, every blade of grass clear. He squared his chest, raised his twin blades, and bellowed. "Human heroes watching from the dark, I knew you'd raid at night. Your frail bodies can only steal a wind this low way. Come, Bristlefang's legend, Hethril, stands here." The wind howled, the clouds shrank back. The sound carried 10 miles to the captains. None were swayed. The Nightglow captain stepped forward and let his legend presence loose. At his gesture, starlight reversed. Moonlight ran backward, wind and rain and thunder at his side, stirring the white beard under his helm. "Begin." The plains seethed with snarls and panting, Boarmen bearing tusks, raising bone blades, howling to welcome the hero to come. Formless, the boar riders hauled their kin along behind the elites and charged the single human army like a roaring tide. They wanted the first kill. The orcs were still a way off, so I didn't bother. Just poked the nearest knight with my cross spear, a timid Thornspear man eyeing the tide with dread. "Scared? Just stay behind me. You lot too, behind me." The captains went, "We can't lag. Keep tight. Don't scatter. Last warning, die and don't blame me." Harsh, but better not to die. I prefer it. Rezer grinned. Seeing their lead knights close on me, the rest of the order knights closed in too, and so did the other 2 columns. This man's the head, and a knight just follows orders. All right, all ranks, order bulwark. White light wove between the armor, all linked, all one fate. Once every elite wore the glow, and only I stood at the very front, spear up. "You're not an order knight?" Rezer finally caught on, alarmed. He had no idea how I'd hold a first knight's pressure. "Don't overthink it. Second order, charge with me." I squeezed baby's flanks, and the big white ram put his head down and ran. The knights behind, no way back now, gritted their teeth and followed. A cavalry arrowhead, surging, accelerating. Third order, spears up. 800 riders hit top speed, the boar riders 200 meters out, a few breaths for cavalry. "Then, I'll go first." I stroked baby's head. He knew. Frenzy. His speed exploded again, savage menace pouring off him, and the leaping siege ram crashed into the boar rider elites like a boulder, mashing the nearest to pulp. Hiya! I whipped the cross spear and scrambled their formation. 3 elite heads burst. Axes and blades fell on me. Clang, clang, clang. No use, no use. 10,000 ants can't wound a lion. Bloodhaze burst. Cornered beast. The crossbear cracked sonic in the air, whipping orc heads into a rain of blood. Under 5 seconds, the vanguard elites wiped. Only elite hogs left, trampled by the knights behind. The few that fought back couldn't scratch 200 bulwark-linked elites. Baby slowed down. Frenzied, he came down off it and folded back into the column. 7 elites. You killed 7 in 2 strokes. Rezer's jaw would have hit the floor if the helmet weren't holding it. Small stuff. I drank from the cracked open elite in my hand, flung the body, and told the riders, don't lag. Now's the real part. I'd brought them into the Boorman camp. Under that little sun, the common Boorman had daytime vision, enough to keep them from a night panic, not enough to threaten cavalry. Galloping horses came down on them like hammers. Flesh split, bone flew, and even those who only came near got swept into the wedge's wind, slammed onto the bulwark, trampled under hundreds of hoofs. Cries, wails, useless resistance. Wherever the blood-red siege ram passed, hell on earth, no exceptions. The first 7 elites died. 13 more came forward and became fertilizer. The strongest cut of that devil's took 6 elite heads, and nothing of ours could slow him a hair. Maybe if they couldn't see, it wouldn't be this terrifying, some Boormen found themselves thinking. 7 Boorman legends stood, arms crossed, facing 15 captains. Want to save them? The Nightglow captain asked, flat, neither glad nor anxious, stating the obvious. The Boormen's faces didn't change. This is the necessary sacrifice before the dawn. He must be the final enemy of our prophesied legend. Wonder who'll kill him. Yummel, I'd say. His twin blades hit hard. No. Trunda. He waits till the humans spent. Foolish. The war god's children should clash in the open, not scheme. You think they're human? Fair. Though this one's got some legend power in him. A relic, surely. Letting a legend butcher mortals. Humans are shameless. 7 heroes traded words, indifferent to their kin's deaths. This was the light before dawn. However it ached, they couldn't show it now. Their job was to clean the human legends in front of them.